should be live right now. Alright, let's get started in a minute. Alright, let's see, get the volume right. Let's make sure.
Chapter 6.
Okay.
Maximum volume.
Alright, I should be good. Oh. Woo, let's get started. So last chapter we ended at chapter 5, which it was the familiar of the wizard that Jason killed ended up trying to attack Jason. So he was climbing up the well, and then he fell down, and the snake collapsed on him. So now we're gonna see kind of where he's at now and what's gonna happen going forward. So we'll see. We'll see kind of what we're gonna see where we go from here now. What up, though, Marcy? Appreciate you coming in. But yeah, let me just get into it. I don't know how long I'm gonna be live today, but I kind of want to get more into the story, kind of get more hype. Hopefully we can get some more hype into the story. I wasn't planning on doing this right now. It was a lot of fucked up shit that happened to me today, actually. So things are kind of not happening the way that I planned it to happen today. So because of that, I'm sitting here with nothing to do. So I figured I'll just go live and continue on with the chapter, because I ain't got shit else to do today because my truck broke down. So, but we got to make lemonade out of these fucked up lemons. So let's get started. So we should be at chapter 6. We should be starting. I'm gonna try to do blah blah blah. Okay. No, I didn't want to do that. Messing me up. Okay. All right, I should be good.
Potent potable. Jason, as a rule, enjoyed waking up. He loved the brief, hazy moment between dream and reality, shrouded in warm, soft bedding. Even awaking in the soft grass of the hedge maze hadn't been a wholly unpleasant experience. It was very different from regaining consciousness at the bottom of a dark well, soaked in filthy water and entangled in the corpse of a dead snake.
A little bit faster.
He ignored the screens that had popped up.
So the snake did die. I was wondering, like, oh, okay, is he gonna fall down there? I said this last night. I was like, is he gonna fall down, and then all the rocks and shit gonna crush the snake, and the snake's gonna be dead, and he's gonna survive? That's exactly what's happening right now. Well, that's unfortunate.
Popped up while he was unconscious. They shrank away to hover inconspicuously in the periphery of his vision. His left arm was pinned under some rubble, a chunk of fallen masonry from the well wall above. He didn't feel any pain from it, which was good, then realized he didn't feel anything at all from it, which was bad. When he tried pulling it free, the pain arrived in full force, his screams reverberating up through the well. Holding his left arm as still as he could, he rolled the chunk of masonry off with his right. It wasn't insurmountably heavy, but he had to hold back more screaming with gritted teeth. He couldn't examine the freed arm properly in the dark, but it was hot and swollen to the touch. Even probing it gently with the fingers of his good hand sent ripples of pain radiating through it. He was confident it was broken, and started carefully applying all the healing ointment he had left. The swelling reduced, and the skin cooled, but the arm was still delicate and painful to move. The ointment didn't seem effective on the bone-deep injury it couldn't reach.
Yeah, he's gonna need...
There was so much of the snake corpse that he was laying on it rather than the bottom of the well, jerking his foot free.
So he's gonna need, like, a recovery potion or something in order for him to, like, recover, because I don't think that ointment be able to get rid of some broken bones. So I really want to see who he's gonna meet that's gonna be, like, friendly towards him.
But free of its coils sent fresh pain spiking through his arm. It took multiple attempts to struggle to his feet, using his good arm to yank himself upright with one of the wall rungs. Each time he achieved...
Is he gonna get him? Is he gonna get an achievement for killing that snake? Like, oh, you killed a familiar, so you get, you know, what the hell did he need last time? Because he had the coin. He had the awakened essence something, or unawakened something like that essence thing. So he needs to get like a unawakened essence, and then he used that coin to like unlock it. Something like that is what he's got to do.
Achieved some precarious stability, his stomach roiled and he threw up, dropping to his knees. Vomit spewed out in fits and starts, even as emotion drove new pain into his injured arm. He finally made it to his feet, holding himself up and using a rung for support. He drew ragged breaths, exhausted from the effort of standing up. For the first time since climbing down into the well, he was grateful for the cold walls, ignoring the wet as he pressed his back into the cool surface. His head swam, pulse pounding through it like a hammer. His stomach churned with the threat of...
Hey, is my audio still good? Do you guys hear it? Is it coming in good? Does it need to be louder, or can I turn it down a little bit? Let me know. Let me know what's best. I think this is okay, but if it need to be turned down or up, I can do that.
Threat of secondary eruptions. It wasn't the worst he'd ever felt. The worst was after eating one of his great Aunt Marjorie's casseroles, which led him to taking up residence in his parents' bathroom for 10 hours. For all her efforts to push Jason into the waiting arms of the Lord, the closest she came was food poisoning so bad it had him praying for death. Jason looked down at the snake, its incredible length piled up at the bottom of the well. It was big enough that there wasn't anywhere for Jason to stand, except on the snake itself. The largest individual piece of shattered masonry had crushed the creature's head against the bottom of the well. Either the hefty chunk or the snake itself could have killed Jason, but wild luck led to one danger handling the other.
Lucky.
He glanced up at the blue circle of sky, uncertain how long he had been unconscious. He had to decide between climbing back up the well or going back through the tunnel, neither of which seemed easy with a busted arm. He put off the unpleasant choice and looked at the windows he had been ignoring. You have defeated Umbral Mountain Snake.
Oh.
Would you like to loot
Yes.
Umbral Mountain Snake?
Gotta loot.
Sure, he said, wearily, then froze. Belatedly remembered that monsters dissolved into stinking smoke when they were looted. To his relief and surprise, that didn't happen. All he felt was the snake shift a little under his feet. He looked over the list of items he got from the snake.
What'd he get?
Night scale leather has been added to your inventory.
Okay.
30 dark quintessence gems, iron, have been added to your inventory. 10
Okay.
bronze spirit coins.
Okay, so all right, listen, Marcin, you know about the story. So what does it mean when it says iron? What does iron actually mean? Because it keep on saying that, oh, you got these coins or whatever, iron. What does iron mean? Is iron like the level of the coins, like how valuable the coins are? Like if they say he got 30 snake coins gold, does that mean that, oh, this is like a gold coin? To find the word. Okay. I don't know. I guess maybe you're talking about a different language. Maybe you read it in a different language. Maybe you're bilingual. Maybe that's what it is. But yeah, I'm wondering what the hell iron means, because I don't get it. Like, they keep on mentioning iron. Everything will be explained. Yeah. I got you. I'm just a little impatient. That's all it is.
He looked over the list of items he got from the snake. Night scale leather has been added to your inventory. 30 dark quintessence gems, iron, have been added to your inventory. 10 bronze spirit coins have been added to your inventory. 100 iron spirit coins have been added to your inventory. Unlike every other monster Jason killed, the snake didn't turn into a stench cloud and didn't produce a monster core. I need to learn the rules of this place. He took a look at the next screen. Quest. Time to run. Hidden objective discovered. Kill Umbral Mountain Snake. 0
But no,
of 1.
you're good. If you don't
Hidden
know
objective
it,
complete.
it's not that big
Kill
of a deal.
Umbral Mountain Snake. 1 of 1. Main objective reward increased from rare magical
Wait.
dagger to epic magical dagger.
I missed
Hidden
it.
objective discovered. Kill Umbral Mountain Snake. 0 of 1. Hidden objective complete. Kill Umbral Mountain Snake. 1 of 1. Main
Oh.
objective reward increased from rare magical dagger to epic magical dagger.
Oh.
Objective complete. Escape Umbral Mountain Snake. 1 of 1. Night Fang has been added to your inventory.
Oh shit.
Quest
Hold
complete.
on. Hold on. This is
100
all happening way too fast. Okay, so he got the Nightingale, and then he got the coins, but then he unlocked a hidden quest which is to kill the snake. He killed the snake. His dagger that he was gonna get got upgraded from a rare dagger to an epic dagger. And then it was something else that had happened too.
Or increased from rare magical dagger to epic magical dagger. Objective complete. Escape Umbral Mountain Snake, 1 of 1. Night Fang has been added to your inventory.
Night Fang. Okay.
Quest complete. 100 bronze spirit coins have been added to your inventory.
Bronze.
1,000 iron spirit coins have been added to your inventory. Hidden objective?
Okay.
I just fell on it. That
Iron
seems kind of
spirit
cheap.
coins and bronze.
Wait,
okay.
why am I complaining? Get it together, Jason. He checked the last window.
Yes, that's true.
Quest,
I know just
Secrets of the Well.
as Jason.
Bonus objective complete. Don't die. 1 of 1. Dark Essence has been added to your inventory.
Dark Essence.
Quest complete. 100 bronze spirit coins have been added to your inventory.
More
1,000 iron spirit coins have been added to your inventory.
Okay.
Well, if you're only going to complete 1 quest objective, Don't Die is a winner.
All right.
There were new items in his inventory, but his only interest was in something that could fix his arm. Looking over the icons in his inventory, nothing stood out that might help. Suddenly, Jason remembered the wizard drinking what he called a recovery potion.
Right.
He looked up at the ladder leading out of the well and realized that between his bad arm and what was probably a concussion...
So I'm guessing right now, as far as we know, it's not like solo leveling where there's a shop he can just go to and just start buying a bunch of stuff with those coins. So maybe he has to go to like a market in order to get stuff because it's not just like a floating shop. So far, maybe it is one. He just don't know how to access it yet. But
he was more likely to fall back down than reach the top. A return to the tunnel wasn't an appealing prospect, but at least he couldn't fall if he was already on his hands and knees. The tunnel proved trickier than he hoped, every nudge sending agony through his cradled arm. He had to stop frequently and let the waves of pain subside before moving on. Finally, he reached the wooden walkway, collapsing onto his back. There was light, the lamp laying where he had cast it aside in his mad flight from the snake. After resting a while, he pushed himself stumblingly upright and started shambling down the walkway, lamp in hand. He moved slowly. He learned his lesson about the slippery wood, but also it was the top speed he could muster. Eventually, he reached the still open metal door. How did a snake get this open? He glanced at the wheel mechanism on either side. Part of the wheel was wet with what may have been saliva. Did it use its mouth? No way. Not sparing more than a moment on curiosity, he made his way to the desk he had seen the wizard get the potion from. It wasn't hard to find, being one of the few pieces of furniture not overturned. Jason's eyes avoided the body still on the floor as he navigated the debris of the trashed room. The drawer was still open, and inside was a small rack for vials like the one he had seen the wizard drink. Only 1 vial remained, and Jason carefully picked it up. Item: recovery potion, bronze, bronze rank, rare. Potent potable with strong healing and mana recovery effects. Consumable, healing. Effect: recovers health. Effect reduced on silver rank or higher individuals. Uses remaining, 1 of 1.
oh, okay, I kind of see what it is now. So it's a bronze potion, so it doesn't have as great of an effect on silver rank people or gold rank people, or higher rank people. Okay, so he just need to get a more expensive potion if he's at a higher level. But I wonder if like the silver level potions can do like a much better job. Like if you like inches away from death, can you get like a gold level recovery potion and then it like heal you up or something? But I'm just speculation.
The vial was small, about the size of a rifle cartridge. Jason pulled out the stopper and tipped it back in a gulp. It tasted remarkably like strawberry schnapps, and Jason's unruly stomach settled the instant the potion
Strawberry
arrived.
Schnapps?
Nice. The stinging sensation Jason now associated with magical healing started seeping into him, especially his head and injured arm. It was worse than what he had experienced before, whether because of the nature of the injuries or the potency of the potion. It didn't bother him. Compared to the pain he was already in, this was nothing more than a tickle. You have used a recovery potion, restoring health, stamina, and mana. Until the remnant magic fully dissipates, consuming further health, stamina, or mana potions will result in toxic side effects. By using a potion above your current rank, the effect is increased, but the residual magic will take longer to dissipate.
Okay. They answered
Jason
the
lay on the
question.
floor,
They just
taking
answered.
exhausted breaths. His head was still full of cotton wool, but the constant throbbing was gone. His arm didn't seem to be broken anymore. The pain was gone, and mobility was restored, but the arm still felt delicate and weak. In the periphery of his vision was a trio of small icons slowly shading over. When he focused on them, they grew larger for him to examine. They were all squares with a picture of a potion on each, one red, one yellow, and one blue. They were mostly grayed out, but the grey was slowly dropping off as a timer underneath each counted down, with just under 10 minutes remaining. Cooldown timers. That's fancy. He pushed himself to his feet, much easier now than back in the well. All right, he told himself.
All right.
Damaged but operational. So, what next? He shone the light around until he found the dead body of the wizard, and walked over to look closer. There was an eerie stillness to it, that only came from death. I'm sorry, he told it. I think you might have had it coming, but I didn't want it to go that way. He knelt down and closed his eyes.
He's sorry.
Would you like to loot Builder Cultist?
Oh yeah!
What's a Builder Cultist?
That's him. That's the wizard.
Chapter 7. Spoils. Would you like to loot Builder Cultist? The idea of rifling through the pockets of a corpse filled Jason with disgust.
Grave
Would the system
robbery.
just loot the body, like it did with monsters? Corpse robbing was a nasty business, but Jason had no idea what kind of place he was in, or how to leave it without being eaten. He was going to need every advantage he could get his hands on.
So we're on chapter 7, by the way. We're on chapter 7. Wait, am I right? Yeah, I'm right. We're on chapter 7.
He thought about the snake back in the tunnel. It won't skin him, will it? He took a step back. All right, he said. Loot the body.
Gotta loot those corpses.
Landomir Vane's keyring has been added to your inventory. Robes of the Astral Verdict have been added to your inventory. 4 gold
shit.
spirit coins have been added to your inventory. 16 silver spirit coins have been added to your inventory. 138 bronze spirit coins have been added to your inventory. 437 iron spirit coins have been added to your inventory. 228 lesser spirit coins have been added to your inventory.
Damn, he getting the jackpot, yo.
Where were you carrying all that? That's about
Sheesh.
800 coins. The robes the wizard was wearing had vanished, although he had been wearing a full set of clothes underneath. Jason pulled the robes back out of his inventory and held them up to examine. They were dark blue, but covered in the blood of their former owner. Item: robes of the Astral Verdict, bronze rank, rare. Robes designed for summoning. Armor, cloth. Effect: increases the damage dealt by dimension spells. Effect: summon creatures have increased damage reduction. Effect: damage reduction against disruptive force damage. Jason wasn't ready to wear the clothes he took from a person he killed.
Pretty solid.
Especially
He can
when they were
sell
still
them.
wet with his blood.
He can sell them.
He returned the robes to his inventory and started searching about for something to cover the body. There was a fallen tapestry he dug out and laid over the corpse. Partly because he felt it was the decent thing to do. Mostly, though, he didn't want the body out in the open while he searched the room, always at the edge of his vision. He needed to find anything he could to aid his escape from this place and its cannibalistic inhabitants. He started by examining the magic circle in the middle of the room. It was large, around 3 meters across, the metal set directly into the floor. The lines were intricate and complex, like someone had started with a pentagram and gotten severely carried away. It was also damaged. Some of the metal had been pried up, other sections warped, as if by great heat, although there was no indication of burning anywhere. The circle wasn't useful to him, so he started going through the rest of the room. He started with the big desk the potions had been in. There were no more potions, but there were a few tins of healing unguent, which he took. Unlike the plain tins he got from monsters, these tins were branded with some kind of logo. Greenstone Alchemy Association, Jason read from the bottom of the tin. I guess alchemy is a thing too. Maybe I can pick up a crafting skill. The rest of the drawers contained piles of notes and diagrams that seemed related to the magic circle. Oddly, Jason could read the individual words despite never having seen the language before, but they didn't make any sense to him as a whole. From what he could gather, they were on some set of magical principles, as arcane to him as high-end theoretical physics. During his brief stint at university, he studied political science. Regular science had never appealed. He moved on, searching through toppled bookshelves and overturned tables. There was a variety of what looked like curios and display pieces, mostly tossed to the floor and broken, but nothing useful. He picked up a few of the books, flipping through the pages. There were a lot of them scattered around the room, their bookcases knocked over or even smashed. They seemed to be written in a variety of languages, but Jason had no problems reading any of them. Each new and unfamiliar text came as easy as if he'd been reading it his whole life. That's a little disconcerting. Although he could read the word.
So I wonder, okay, so like, I'm trying to think, like, so normally in these stories, they gotta have something that separates the character from the rest of the characters, whether it be like a bonus, a power-up, or whatever. You know, I'm thinking about like, you know, Sung Jin Woo and Solo Leveling. His biggest separator was, for one, he had the, what the fuck was it called? It was the what the hell did Sung Jin Woo? He was a God, I can't even remember where he was. He was a dark something with bodies and souls, or what the hell was it that he could do? He was a what type of character was Sung Jin Woo? It was a, yeah, Shadow Monarch. Yes, that's what I was thinking of. Thank you. He was a Shadow Monarch. So yeah, so he was that, and that was what separated him. And also he had a lot of courage, because he was an E rank hunter, and you know, he was brave, and he went into dangerous sections, and so that was like the one thing that separated him. But once he became a Shadow Monarch, he kind of just, you know, just sky's the limit at that point. But I'm wondering, so far with this character Jason, it seemed like one of his differentiators is that he can read any sort of language, and he can absorb skill books. So I'm thinking that these skill books is probably going to be a really good bonus to him. But then again, it depends though, because if he meets other people and they can read skill and they can absorb skill books, then maybe he's not that special. Because he's got to have something that makes him special. Because it doesn't seem like he's like really, really smart. Like, I wonder like how good of a job is he going to do when he gets to pick like his abilities and his skills and stuff. Is he gonna be like really calculating, but okay, which one can give me the furthest to get to this point, and then I need this in order to get to that, and then I need to get 5% of this, and then I'll be able to unlock this. Like, I wonder like how smart is he gonna get with the system and stuff, and kind of how that's gonna go. But yeah, I'm curious though. I'm curious. I'm enjoying it so far.
Words, that wasn't the same as understanding it. Every book he picked up seemed to be about magic theory, making them as impenetrable as any advanced textbook from a field he knew nothing about. Moving a large overturned table from where it had been tossed against the wall, Jason discovered a display cabinet with a glass door. Despite the table that had crashed into it, the cabinet was wholly unaffected, the glass remaining clear and uncracked. Inside were 4 books, each on its own small easel stand. Compared to the other books Jason had found, these looked more impressive, with intricately embossed leather covers. Trying to open the cabinet, he found it was locked shut. After a few attempts to break the surprisingly sturdy glass, he remembered the keyring he had looted from the dead body. Pulling it out of his inventory, Jason discovered it was like a dungeon keeper's keyring from an old movie. Okay. A huge array of keys dangling from a large metal hoop. Item: Landemir Vane's keyring. Normal rank: common. The keys for various locks throughout the Vane Manor, as well as personal keys for Landemir Vane's possessions, a mixture of ordinary keys and magical keys. Tool.
What? Okay.
Effect: open specific locks. Jason looked over at the covered body laying on the floor. Was that your name? Landemir Vane. He sighed. Sorry I killed you, Landemir, but you tried to kill me first.
It's true.
He looked away from the covered corpse and focused on the task at hand. The keyhole on the cabinet door was quite small, so he tried the more delicate-looking keys until the lock clicked open. The cabinet wasn't very large, but there were only 4 books in the entire case, set out for display rather than efficiency. The embossed leather didn't have titles, instead bearing patterns like the magic circle on the floor. Jason took out one of the books at random. Item: Astral Magic 2, bronze rank, uncommon. A magical book that can impart the knowledge of intermediate level astral magic.
Okay!
Skill book.
There we go!
Requirements:
Skill book!
Rank, ability to use skill books.
Wait, go back.
Intermediate, uncommon. A magical book that can impart the knowledge of intermediate level astral magic. Consumable: skill book. Requirements: bronze rank, ability to use skill books, basic ritual magic theory, intermediate ritual magic theory, basic astral magic theory. Effect: imparts intermediate astral magic theory. You do not need the
I was just about to say that he doesn't have the magic theory part. He doesn't have the intermediate magic theory and the other magic theory, so he can't use it. Why is he getting shit that he can't use?
Requirements: bronze rank, ability to use skill books, basic ritual magic theory, intermediate ritual magic theory, basic astral magic theory. Effect: imparts intermediate astral magic theory. You do not meet the requirements to use this item.
Damn.
Jason was familiar with skill books from video games that instantly gave out spells or special abilities. He couldn't try this one because he didn't meet the sizable list of requirements. Does that mean I can be a wizard if I find the right book? Jason started checking the remaining books. From the descriptions, it seemed the 4 books covered 2 different fields of magic, with 1 book at basic and intermediate level for each subject. Of the 4 books, Jason could only use 1.
Oh.
Item, Ritual Magic 1, Iron Rank, Common. A magical book that can impart the fundamentals of performing magic rituals.
Okay.
Consumable, Skill Book. Requirements, ability to use skill books.
Okay.
Effect, imparts basic ritual magic theory. You are able to use skill book, Ritual Magic 1.
Okay, cool.
Use, yes, no.
Cool.
Reading over the description, he lingered on the requirement of being able to use skill books, which he apparently met. Remembering his character sheet, he pulled it up and started looking through the listings under racial abilities. Ability, Mysterious Stranger, Language Adaptation, Essence, Awakening Stone, and Skill Book Absorption, Immunity to Identification, and
Wait, go back.
Things under racial
Okay, so we want to find out, so what is it that he can do? He can absorb, so he got the language adaptability, and then something about essence and skill books.
abilities. Ability, Mysterious Stranger, Language Adaptation, Essence, Awakening Stone, and Skill Book Absorption, Immunity to Identification, and
Okay, essence, awakening stone, and skill book absorption. So he can absorb essence, awakening stones, and skill books. Okay. So that must be the things that make him unique.
effects. Infinite language. Is that why I can read everything?
That's right.
The ability seemed to give him the power to use skill books, along with whatever essences and awakening stones were. He looked at the book in his hand. According to its description, it would give him knowledge. That meant it would alter his brain. But didn't his ability to read weird languages mean it was already affected? Was it already affecting his decision-making? For the time being, Jason stowed the books in his inventory.
What?
He could always look at them later.
Oh,
there didn't seem to be anything else he could make use of, so he decided to take stock. He found an undamaged chair and table, setting them up as far from the body as he could. There were a lot of tables for one room, although it was a large room. After sitting down, he started pulling out the items he had picked up, but not looked at yet, placing them all on the table. He began with the items he looted from the snake. Mercifully, the night scale leather wasn't as drippy as the snake had been after it was skinned. Item, night scale leather, bronze rank, uncommon. The skin of an umbral mountain snake. Crafting material, leather. Effect, crafting material for clothing, armor, and accessories. It was dark and matte, thick and cool to the touch.
So crafting
It was also
material.
surprisingly flexible. Like the snake, the leather was much longer than it was wide, coming out of his inventory rolled up like a traditional bolt of cloth, and bound by a length of thick cord. Did I loot the string from the snake too? That's weird. The snakeskin was listed as a crafting material, as was the dark quintessence, which turned out to be small black gems. Item, dark quintessence, iron rank, common. Manifested essence of darkness. Crafting material, essence. Effect, crafting material for items with darkness attributes. They had the look of uncut gemstones, but the shine of polished onyx. They even came with a pouch to hold them. This is weird. The rest of the items he received as quest rewards,
All this shit is
mostly
weird.
from quests he completed by accidentally braining the snake with a chunk of masonry. He thought the Night Fang would be crafting material like the others he had taken from monsters, but it turned out to be a scary-looking dagger. It came in a sheath made of the same night scale leather, which was also used for the dagger's grip. It was curved in the shape of a fang, and when drawn from the sheath, turned out to be made of bone. It had a wickedly sharp edge, tapering to a point. Item, Night Fang, iron rank.
Oh shit. It kind of messed up on me. Damn. This is whack. Let me go back. Alright, I was on chapter 7.
Chapter 7. Spoils. Would You Like could read the individual words despite never having seen the language before, but they didn't make each new and unfamiliar text came as easy as if he'd been reading it his whole life. Trying to open the cabinet, he found it was locked shut. The embossed leather didn't have titles, instead bearing patterns like the magic circle on the floor. Jason took out one of the books at random. Omen. A magical book that can impart the fundamentals of performance he looted from the snake. Mercifully, the night scale leather wasn't as drippy as the snake had been after it was skinned. They had the look of uncut gemstones, but the shine of polished onyx. They even came with a pouch to hold them. This is weird. The rest of the items he received as quest rewards, mostly from quests he completed by accidentally braining the snake with a chunk of masonry. He thought the Night Fang would be crafting material like the others he had taken from monsters, but it turned out to be a scary-looking dagger. It came in a sheath made of the same night scale leather, which was also used for the dagger's grip. It was curved in the shape of a fang, and when drawn from the sheath, turned out to be made of bone. It had a wickedly sharp edge, tapering to a point. Item: Night Fang, Iron Rank, Epic. A dagger made from the fang of an umbral mountain snake. The magic of the blade allows it to retain the power of the snake's poison. Weapon: Knife. Effect: Inflicts umbral snake venom. Effect: Attacks ignore bronze rank damage reduction and poison resistance. Umbral snake venom. Damage over time, poison, sacking.
Oh,
Inflicts
damn. It ignores poison resistance? That's pretty damn good. That's really good.
ongoing necrotic damage until poison is cleansed. Additional instances have a cumulative effect. The knife even came with a belt of the same leather, but there were no loops for it on Jason's drawstring pants. He put it back into his inventory, along with the Dark Quintessence gems and the roll of snakeskin. The remaining items were both quest rewards for exploring the well. The Awakening Stone of Stars was a smooth, rounded stone about the size of a fist. There were tiny speckles in the stone that seemed to move as he stared at it, although the effect was slight enough that it may have been his imagination. Item: Awakening Stone of the Stars. Unranked, Epic. An Awakening Stone that unlocks the power of the stars. Consumable: Awakening Stone. Requirements: Unawakened Essence ability.
Right.
Effect: Awakens an Essence ability. You have 0 unawakened essence abilities. You do not meet the requirements to use this item.
Abilities.
Essence abilities, Jason read. Is that like magic powers? If I'm going to be dealing with cannibal wizards, I could use some magic powers. The last item was the Dark Essence. It was a cube about 15 centimeters to a side, with a glossy sheen like polished jet. It seemed to be made of the same material as the Dark Quintessence, and given the names, he assumed they were related objects. He picked it up. Item: Dark Essence, unranked, uncommon. Manifested Essence of Darkness. Consumable, Essence. Requirements: less than 4 absorbed essences. Effect: imbues 1 awakened Dark Essence ability and 4 unawakened Dark Essence abilities. You have absorbed 0 of 4 essences. Once absorbed, an essence cannot be relinquished or replaced. You are able to absorb Dark Essence.
Okay.
Absorb. Yes, no.
Okay.
Are you what I need to get those magic powers?
Yeah. Let's get those Dark Essence powers. Okay.
Chapter 8. Dark Magic.
Oh yeah, he absorbed it. Okay.
Jason frowned at the description of the black cube in his hands.
1.25 speed.
Dark Essence abilities. Sounds a bit sinister. How does that work exactly?
Gotta have some dark magic.
Essence abilities. Essence abilities are
Oh wait. Did this motherfucker just get the
They
help?
come in a variety of forms. In
He
Dark Essence
just
abilities.
pressed the help button.
Sounds a bit sinister. How does that work exactly? Help. Essence abilities.
Okay.
Essence abilities are personal supernatural abilities. They come in a variety of forms, including passive abilities, special attacks, and spells. Compared to time-consuming and preparation-intensive ritualized magic, most essence abilities can be used spontaneously.
Okay.
Wait, there's been a help function this whole time?
Yeah,
Can you help me get out
boy.
of here without getting eaten by cannibals?
Got the help function.
You are able to absorb Dark Essence. Absorb. Yes, no. Oh, I see what's going on here. You want me to accept the dark powers you provided after following your plan got me here in the first place, making it seem like my only way out is to use the dark magic you conveniently provided.
What do you mean
Classic
making it seem
seduction
like?
of evil routine.
No.
You could have at least been a little bit subtle. I think this is the point where you remind me how bad my situation is. Zone. Vein Manor. Subterranean Ritual Chamber. Is that Snark? Do I have a snarky user interface? Also, I know where I am. He scowled. I have no idea where I am. He looked at the dark cube he was holding in his hands. Despite the slickly smooth surface, it had no sheen, not reflecting the lamplight at all. If anything, it almost seemed to be absorbing the light. That's only completely ominous.
So dark.
Jason picked up the lamp
Essence.
and panned it around the room.
All
The
right.
magic circle, the covered body, the double doors leading into the inevitably perilous
He's
unknown.
stalling, man. He's
His whole reason
stalling.
for searching the room was to find any advantage before he went through those doors. His gaze drifted back to the cube. Why not? He said. What's the point of going to Magic Land if you don't get a few magic powers? He stood up, took a couple of deep breaths, then picked up the cube. You are able to absorb Dark Essence. Absorb? Yes, no? What could possibly go wrong?
All
Don't
right.
answer that. Just absorb the essence.
All right.
The cube suddenly turned sizzling hot in his
What
hand,
up, though?
and he dropped it to the floor. What the? Dark smoke started rising up off the cube, and Jason backed away. It's possible I made a bad decision here. The smoke coming off the cube was rising up in narrow streaks, like black streamers. They twisted in the air, heading in Jason's direction. He backed away further, but was quickly moving out of the light shining from the lamp he had left on the table. The smoke followed him into the shadows where he could no longer see it. Sure, just get the dark magic powers. Good choice, idiot. Jason felt the smoke reach him with the same scalding heat he had felt from the cube. He screamed as the black steam forced its way over his face, invading his mouth, nose, and eyes.
Why do you have
At
to
some point, he
wait?
passed out from the pain. His
Wait,
neck
why do they
sensation-
have to do it like that? Why do they have to make it all like this big ass like, oh, you gotta absorb this smoke and all? Why can't they just give him the abilities? Why they gotta make it all drawn out and like evil and shit? Like, oh, you gotta get the choking on the fucking smoke and you got pain and shit. Like that's kind of crazy. Like normally you just you strengthen up or you get the ability and now you can use it, but like they're making it all like a whole process. It's kind of scary.
being waking up on the floor. Sitting up, he probed his face with his hands. The sensation of pain was completely gone, and nothing was sensitive to the touch. His eyes seemed fine, and he realized he could see the room as if it weren't dark at all.
Oh, this motherfucker got night
He could clearly
vision!
see into the pump.
This motherfucker got night vision! Oh, I didn't even think about that! Man, okay, what else he got? What else he got? Oh shit, it ain't playing. Oh, there you go.
Onto the room previously cast in shadow. You have absorbed dark essence. You have absorbed 1 of 4 essences.
Alright,
Progress
peace.
to iron rank 25%. 1 of 4.
Oh wait, I'm not
essences.
listening. Shit!
Dark essence has bonded to your speed attribute. You have absorbed dark essence. You have absorbed 1 of 4 essences.
Okay.
Progress to iron rank 25%. 1 of 4 essences. Dark essence.
Wait.
has bonded to your
Okay. So they said that he absorbed 1 of 4 essences. So is there another dark essence that he has to absorb? That would be number 2, or is it another type of essence? Is it like a light essence, or like a fire essence, or like a earth essence, or something like that? You know, they probably got 6 different types. They probably got fire, water, earth, and wind or air, and then they got light and darkness. So they probably got those 6. But he said that he needs to absorb 4. So I wonder, does it matter which 4, or does he need to get like a higher level version of dark essence? So maybe he has the bronze version of dark essence and he needs to get the silver version and then maybe the gold version. Or maybe he can combine. I don't know where they're going to go with this.
attribute, changing your speed from normal to iron 0. Master all dark essence abilities to increase your speed attribute. You have awakened the dark essence ability Midnight Eyes. You have awakened 1 of 5 dark essence abilities. There was a mirror on one of the walls. It was huge, double the size of even full-length
1 of
mirrors Jason had
5.
seen.
Okay.
There was a spiderweb crack coming up from the bottom, but mostly it was fine. He moved over to it, checking his face for burn marks. It was a little hard to tell under the encrusted blood and tunnel grime, but he appeared unmarked. His eyes weren't even bloodshot. The rest of him was just as dirty as his face, his skinny frame smeared with filth. The Quest reward pants, originally white, were stained to the point that they looked like camouflage. It was the first time he'd gotten a look at himself since arriving. He'd been imagining himself looking like an action hero, heading into Act 3 with masculine dirt stains reflecting enemies bested and challenges overcome. Instead, he just looked grubby and ragged, the skin visible under the filth pale and taut. His Japanese facial features, inherited from his father, were even sharper than usual, making his face look gaunt. His bald head and absent eyebrows made him look manic and unhinged. His skinny body
he's
wasn't fat and well or
Japanese.
muck on it either, looking less action movie and more refugee documentary. He
That's
sighed.
interesting.
All right, let's take a look at my shiny new magic power. Ability, Midnight Eyes, Dark. Special ability, Perception. Base cost, none. Cooldown, none. Current rank, Iron 0. 0%. Effect, Iron. See through darkness. At least it isn't complicated.
So perception.
He looked around the room some more, the shadows no longer hiding anything from him. It wasn't like a low-light filter. The lamp didn't interfere with his sight at all. Its light was more like a beam that brought things into full color, compared to the muted look of the areas covered in shadow.
Okay.
That's cool, I guess, he said.
That's cool as hell!
Disappointing for a magic power. Man,
he's
I'm
so
not getting
lame.
Fireball from a dark essence.
So lame.
He looked over at the table, and the round stone still where he
That's
left
cool,
it.
I guess.
The magic stone of something or other would apparently give him another power, so he walked over and picked it up.
Wait.
You have 4 unawakened
Wait,
essences of
what is
dark
this?
essence. He looked over at the table, and the round stone still where he left it. The magic stone of something or other would apparently give him another power, so he walked over and picked it up.
Magic stone?
You have 4 unawakened essence abilities. You are able to absorb Awakening Stone of the Stars. Absorb. Yes, no.
Wait.
He thought about the excruciating...
Wait. So absorbing that essence gave him an unawakened essence ability? So now he can absorb the fucking stars?
Yes.
Oh shit.
On the other hand, you have 4 unawakened essence abilities. You are able to absorb Awakening Stone of the Stars. Absorb.
Wait.
Yes.
How did he get 4 unawakened essence? At first he had 0 unawakened essence abilities. Now he's got 4 unawakened essence abilities? So is it just because he hasn't unlocked the other 4? Because he gotta absorb those though. I thought he did. I'm a little confused about that. I'm a little confused.
Yes, no. He thought about the excruciating pain that came from absorbing the essence. On the other hand, there didn't seem to be any after effect.
You said it gives him some slots. Okay, so he got 4 slots, right? So he's got 4 slots for abilities. But the whole Under the Stars thing, they said that you gotta have an unawakened ability. So are those 4 slots considered like 4 unawakened abilities? But he doesn't have those abilities yet. He's gotta master the dark essence shit. So I'm still a little confused by that.
After effects, and he did get a magic power out of it. Before he used it, though, he made some preparations. One of the chairs he had seen scattered around the room was a deep, comfortable-looking armchair. It was extremely heavy, but he managed to drag it out from under a fallen bookshelf and flip it back upright. It was a huge wooden affair, with plush, stitched-in cushioning. He was sick of falling over in pain. Jason sat in the chair, the Awakening Stone in his hand. Absorb. Rather than turn hot and dissolve into smoke, the Awakening Stone grew cold before growing soft and melting in his hand like ice cream. It seeped into his hand, filling his arm with a bone-deep chill that once again left him yelling out in pain.
Okay,
it was
ice
not on the same
powers?
scale as the essence. He kept control of his faculties while frantically shaking the arm that felt like it had been plunged into ice water. Eventually, the bone-deep chill receded, and the pain passed, leaving him sprawled in the chair, heaving in breaths.
Okay.
You have awakened the Dark Essence ability, Cloak of Night. You have awakened 2 of 5 Dark Essence abilities.
Wait! Okay, I'm confused, bro. Wait, so how does the Under the Stars or whatever the fuck the stars were, so that was a Dark Essence ability the entire time? Man, they got me confused, man. They got me confused.
And the pain passed, leaving him sprawled in the chair, heaving in breaths. You have awakened the Dark Essence ability, Cloak of Night. You have awakened 2 of 5
Invisibility, baby?
Jason could feel a change within himself. It was something new, yet weirdly familiar, like when he was reading a language he'd never seen before. The power was inside him, as if it had always been there, waiting to be awoken. He knew the power instinctively. It was poised and ready, eager to be used. He stood up and moved back to the mirror before using his new power. It responded immediately, as easy and natural as lifting his hand. Dark energy suddenly engulfed his body, hiding his visage in the mirror. It wasn't disturbing at all, but felt cool and refreshing. The energy coalesced into the form of a voluminous cloak, enshrouding his body and hiding his head within a deep, impenetrable hood. The cloak seemed more like an object of living darkness than fabric, dotted with tiny points of light. They shifted and twinkled, tiny stars in the night sky of the shadowy garb.
Okay.
Jason could feel the cloak, not like a piece of clothing, but like one of his limbs. He could feel its power.
Okay.
With a thought, the stars grew brighter, to the point that they outshone the lamp. Then they dimmed until he couldn't even see himself in the mirror, disappearing into the shadows.
Oh, okay,
Ability,
cool.
Cloak of Night.
So he can adjust how bright the stars are, so that if he's in the darkness, but he can see in the dark, so he doesn't really need light because he can see in the darkness. So they don't need to be light. But I guess if he was traveling with other people and they couldn't see, he can like light up the way for him. That could be one benefit, but then he can turn it off and just be completely dark. That's cool. So it's kind of like a versatile cloak.
But like one of his limbs, he could feel its power. With a thought, the stars grew brighter, to the point that they outshone the lamp. Then they dimmed until he couldn't even see himself in the mirror, disappearing into the shadows. Ability: Cloak of Night, Dark. Conjuration: Darkness, Light, Dimension. Base cost: moderate mana to conjure. Cooldown: none. Current rank: Iron, 0%.
Mana?
Effect: Iron. Conjures a magical cloak that can alter the wearer. Offers limited physical protection. Can generate light or blend into shadows. Cloak can reduce the weight of the wearer for a low mana per second cost, allowing reduced falling speed and water walking. Cannot be given or taken away, although effects can be extended to others in very close proximity.
Okay.
Water walking, Jason read.
That's cool as
That's a
hell.
magic power. He looked around the room. That I can't try out right now. He instinctively understood how to use the weight-reducing aspect of the ability, and hopped lightly into the air. He went up much higher than he normally would, and dropped back down slower.
Okay.
It's like being on the moon. He bounced around the room with a goofy grin on his face, until he remembered the dead body.
I'll be doing the same thing too.
Not the time to be having fun.
I'll
He
be
told
having
himself.
fun, man.
He experimented further with the magical cloak. He could see through it as if it wasn't there, so even with his head covered, it didn't obstruct his vision. He could make any or all of it lose physical substance, so if he wanted to grab it, he could, or his hand could pass through unobstructed. Nifty. He could make it vanish with a thought and pull it out again, which he tried several times. After the third attempt, he suddenly felt woozy and had to sit down. He went back to the armchair and fell into it. Your mana is low. I'm out of mana already?
Right. Where's his
Also,
mana?
I have mana?
Right.
Is there a mana bar or something?
Right.
Two horizontal bars appeared at the periphery of his vision. One was blue but mostly empty, while the other was orange and about 2/3 full. Next to them was a silhouette of a person that was mostly green, but the head area and the left arm were yellow. Alright, so the blue bar is mana, the little body is health, and the yellow bar is something?
Right.
Current stamina, 64%.
Stamina.
Okay, stamina. I think I'm getting a handle on this.
Okay.
I don't seem to have a lot of mana, though. Help. Mana. Mana is a resource required for many essence abilities. Low mana will lead to mental exhaustion. Maximum mana is based on the spirit attribute. Bind an essence to the spirit attribute to increase maximum mana. Mana recovery is based on the recovery attribute. Bind an essence to the recovery attribute to increase mana recovery rate.
Okay.
Jason let out a yawn. He
So
had
he
gone through a
needs
lot, and his time unconscious was hardly
More
restful.
spirit.
One last thing, he said, pulling one of the skill books out of his inventory. He walked over to the comfy chair and fell into it. Item, Ritual Magic 1, Iron Rank, Common. A magical book that can impart the fundamentals of performing magic rituals. Consumable, skill book. Requirements, ability to use skill books. Effect, imparts basic ritual magic theory.
Okay.
You are able to use skill book,
Examine the read.
Ritual Magic 1.
Let's absorb.
Use. Yes, no.
Let's absorb.
Yes. The book floated out of his hand and into the air. The
Ritual.
cover flung itself open, and the writing on it started removing itself from the page, changing from black to gold as the disembodied text floated into the air. The pages started turning, faster and faster, gold text pouring into the air. Turning pages flicked over in a rush as the golden text formed a corona around the floating book. Then the flutter of pages started slowing, until the last page turned and the book fell to the ground, every page blank. The cloud of golden text swarmed over Jason like angry fireflies, disappearing into his body as it landed on his flesh with stinging bites. His mind was bombarded with information too quickly to process, leaving it lost and adrift. The pain and disorientation finally passed, leaving him in general control of his faculties, but dizzy and confused. He had no idea if seconds or hours had passed. He was weary to the bone, limbs as heavy as his eyelids. Your stamina has been exhausted. Unable to keep his head up, he slumped over in the chair, fast asleep. After what felt like no time at all, he was jolted awake by a loud hammering. His head was still hazy, and he shook it clear in time to see two men storm through the now broken double doors. The one in the lead was holding a hammer, the one behind a shovel. G'day, but
It might be those two people that he was hiding from, and they were talking about the cannibalism. It might be those two guys. Probably some bad shit about to happen. He's probably gonna do some fighting.
folks, I don't suppose there's any chance you're not cannibals? The pair scowled. The one with the shovel moved forward and hoisted it menacingly. Jason scrambled to pull the curved dagger from his inventory. He used all his knife-fighting expertise, which was none, and the shovel slammed into his face.
Oh my
Jason
god.
dropped the dagger, staggering back with his hands over his nose,
Oh
blood
my
spilling between his fingers.
God.
The shovel came down a second time, and everything went black.
No! What? That's whack!
Chapter 9. Escape.
God.
The circumstances in which Jason regained consciousness were unpleasant. He was cramped up in some kind of tight space, forced into a fetal position. His head was spinning. There
That's
seemed
so
to be a line
trash,
in sight,
bro. Like,
trying to pickaxe
how
his
you
way
gonna
out.
get all these abilities? You got the dagger, you got the cloak, got the vision, and you get knocked out by a shovel? A shovel? Man, that's Jason, that's a big ass L, bro. That's a big ass L.
Out. His nose was congested with what felt like a fistful of bees, and to top it off, he had an urge to vomit. He lay curled up in a constricted space, throwing up on himself. As the vomiting subsided, he noticed the head section of his health silhouette was now a warning orange. I'm getting knocked out.
Fuck. I don't know why I just did that. I'm trying to... Okay.
Knocked out way too much.
Yeah, you are.
He heard a male voice. He's woken up. Jason's eyes swam into focus, although they felt puffy and didn't seem to open properly. He was in what looked like a dog cage, too small to stretch out his limbs.
A dog cage?
His new ability to see in the dark was intact, allowing him to make out that his cage was on a dirt floor in some kind of cellar. The roof and walls were rough timber, and there was a pervasive smell of damp earth. There were 4 more cages in the cellar with him, each containing a person. 1 had a black guy, 2 had white girls. The last cage was bigger than the others, with thicker bars. Inside was an enormous, impossibly hairy man. A Wookiee? Jason asked, deliriously. What's a Wookiee? The hairy man growled. Hey, the black guy called out to him. Did they put a collar on you? What? Jason's thoughts refused to walk in a straight line. Try and focus, the man said. Looks like you were...
Listen, Jason's supposed to be Japanese. I have never heard of a Japanese dude named Jason. Like, that's kind of crazy. That's why I thought that he was, like, American. Because I'm just like, oh, okay, he got Jason, he got a common name that, you know, everybody can pronounce. But this dude's dad is Japanese. So, how the hell... He's Australian? Did they say that? I don't think they said that. I don't think they said that. But he said his dad was Japanese. So okay, so he might be Australian. His dad might be Japanese, and maybe his mom is Australian, maybe. But okay, I kind of assumed that he was from Japan. But okay, that makes more sense.
We hit rather hard. Jason ran his fingers over his face, feeling the dried blood thickly caked onto it. He yelled in pain as his fingers brushed against what turned out to be his very delicate nose. Did they put a collar on you? The man asked again.
Oh.
Confused, Jason reached up and patted his neck. No, he croaked. Why would they put a collar on me? To suppress your essence abilities. You can still use them. Jason nodded, which annoyed the man in his head, who went on a pickaxe frenzy. Ow. Yeah, I can use them, but I only have 2. Can they get you out of that cage? One lets me see in the dark and the other makes me sparkle, so probably not. Sparkle. I'd show you, but I think I might throw up again. Actually, Jason vomited, ending in a coughing fit, after which he passed out again.
So somebody's speaking in his head?
Jason swam at the edge of consciousness, hearing 2 people talk. He was in the underground ritual chamber, a woman said, in a controlled, elegant voice. Yes, m'lady, a gruff male voice replied. You left him in quite a state. Actually, m'lady, that's not much worse than how we found him. You didn't put a collar on him? She asked. Mr. Carruthers only procured the 4, m'lady, for the ones we were warned about. It doesn't matter, said the woman. Feel how weak his aura is. I doubt he has more than 2 or 3 abilities at most. Do you really think he's the one that killed Landomir? That would be my guess, m'lady. He had more blood on him than wounds to produce it. He was also locked in the room with the young master's body. How could he even do it? The woman asked. He's so weak. It seems the young master had mostly done himself in, m'lady. Summoning spell gone awry, from the looks of it. Is that why all those little monsters are running around? It would seem so, m'lady.
Okay.
Quest. No shirt, no shoes, no service. Objective complete. Discover the reason lesser monsters have infested the area, 1 of 1.
Oh,
Symbol
so
shirt has been added to your inventory.
Okay.
Quest complete. 100 Iron Spirit coins have been added to your inventory.
Okay.
Jason stifled a yelp. He had been pretending to be unconscious when a bright blue screen appeared in front of him, and his whole body went tense. The pair continued talking, however, as if nothing had happened.
Dumbass, they can't
So
see
whoever this
it.
is got lucky and killed my son when he was at his most vulnerable.
Her son?
Not that lucky, m'lady. He met me. Just so, Dougal. She acknowledged. Do we know what Landomir was trying to summon? I had a bit of a potter through his notes, m'lady. It was one of them entities from beyond the void. Jason heard the woman sigh. Astral beings, she muttered unhappily. I told that boy it would be the death of him. We're a nice, traditional blood cult family. This nonsense about ineffable ancients from outside reality was never going to work out. What did you do with Landomir's body? Mulch, milady. You mulched my son.
Holy shit.
Well, he won't be mulched yet, milady. Composting isn't a quick process.
I'm
I
about
can
to
fetch him out from
say-
the pile if you like, but my lord won't be happy.
They're about
He was
to
quite specific
break his
as
body
to the
down?
dispensing of the body. I don't care what my stupid husband thinks. He married into the family. This is my manor, my family, and we do things the traditional way.
Okay.
Goodness knows
Okay.
what poor Landomir will taste like after having gone in the mulch pile.
She's in
I'll
charge.
give him a good and proper wash before I bring him into the kitchen, my lady. Thank you, Dougal. Excellent work, as always. Now, do we know where this man came from? No idea, my lady. As you said, he's too weak to be an adventurer, and he wasn't exactly well equipped. He did have a good knife, though. Not sure if he took it from the young master, so I put it with the gear we took off these others.
Damn.
You don't think he's with them?
Stole
I
his
wouldn't
knife.
think so, my lady. He wasn't up to much. Did he say anything? I think he might have been about to, my lady, but that was when he walked into my shovel. Why did you take his shirt? He didn't have one, my lady. Didn't have the chance to ask why, on account of his walking into me shovel again. Do you want me to send him to the kitchen as well? No. If he really did kill my son, I don't want him trotting off to death with his soul intact. Put him with the others for the blood feast.
The blood
Yes, my lady.
feast? Oh,
Although that will be one too many. I don't think the extra blood will be a problem. I was thinking about the High Priest, my lady. You know how he gets. Yes, quite right, Dougal. Very well. Pick out one of the others you like and keep it for yourself. Very generous, my lady. I'll take the elf, if my lady has no objections. Are you sure, Dougal? Elves are quite stringy. Derek was keen to try one, my lady.
That's
I warned
sick,
him, of course,
bro.
but you know how young ones
They
are.
just eating people.
Oh, yes, she said. They never believe you until they suffer the consequences for themselves. Just look where it got Landomir. And my daughter isn't much better. If it wasn't for the cult, I swear I never would have had children. Go fetch my idiot son's body before you take the elf. I don't want him picking up any more flavor than he already has. Of course, my lady. The pair left, and Jason let out a long breath. He didn't know who those people were, but he heard enough to know that he wanted the hell out. He maneuvered about for leverage and tried to force the door with his legs, but it wouldn't budge no matter how much strength he put into it. That's not going to work, the black guy told him.
Now listen.
Have you got a name? Jason asked. I'm Jason, and just thinking of you as the black guy is making me feel uncomfortable. Rufus, the man responded.
The black
G'day,
guy? He's
Jason
black?
said. If you've got a better idea, I'm all
He's
ears.
black? He's Australian, part Japanese, and part black? I'm shocked. I'm shocked. I did not expect that at all. But yeah, that mother don't give two shits. That mother don't give two shits at all. She's got her husband, her daughter, and then her son who's dead. But they're about to have a feast, so they're about to eat a bunch of fucking people. But she doesn't want her son to have a bunch of flavor. I guess she doesn't want her son to get eaten by something, so she doesn't want it to get too tasty.
Have you got a name? Jason asked. He maneuvered about for leverage and tried to force the door with his legs, but it wouldn't budge no matter how much strength he put into it. That's not going to work, the black guy told him. Have you got a name? Jason asked.
Oh,
Jason, and just think.
oh, okay. I wasn't listening to it properly. That's what it is. See, I would have known that if I was listening to it properly.
Of you as the black guy.
Jason asked him, does he have a name? And he said he didn't want to refer to him as the black guy. Okay, gotcha. When you said that, I'm just like, oh, wait, maybe I just listened to it wrong. So yeah, I definitely listened to it wrong.
Making me feel uncomfortable. Rufus, the man responded.
Rufus.
G'day, Jason said. If you've got a better idea, I'm all ears. Afraid not, Rufus said. Unless you've got some spirit coins tucked into those pants, you won't get it open that way.
He do.
Spirit coins?
He got spirit
Jason
coins.
asked. Sure, I've got some, but how will that help? I don't think these cages are coin-operated. This guy's an idiot, one of the women said. Not helping, Rufus said through gritted teeth. Jason, you don't happen to have a silver or gold rank coin, do you?
He do.
Hang on a sec.
He got a silver.
Jason said,
I don't think he
checking
got-
his inventory.
I don't think he got a
There were
gold.
16 silver coins and 4 gold ones.
Oh, he got
all
gold
looted
too!
from Landomir Vane's body.
Oh,
He
shit!
took out one of the silver ones. Item, silver spirit coin. Silver rank, common.
Okay.
The distilled quantity of raw magic. Crafting material, currency. Effect, used to fuel silver rank magic items or as a ritual component. Effect, consumed to briefly increase all attributes to silver rank.
Oh, Oh shit! So he can. Oh, I didn't even know this. Okay, so these coins can do it. So these coins can use to craft. These coins can be used to. What did they say? They said the coins can be used to craft things. It can be used to power up your abilities to silver rank. So that means that he can power up his abilities to gold rank. And then it was something else he could do too. That's crazy.
There were 16 silver coins and 4 gold ones, all looted from Landemir Vane's body. He took out one of the silver ones. Item, silver spirit coin. Silver rank, common. A distilled quantity of raw magic.
Okay.
Crafting material.
Crafting. Currency.
Effect, used to fuel silver rank magic items or as a ritual component. Effect, consumed to briefly increase all attributes to silver rank.
And it can be used as ritual. So it can fuel, it can make you stronger, it can go towards crafting things, it can be used as currency, and it can do one more thing. I forget. It can craft. It can craft. It can be currency. It can power you up, and it can be used in a ritual to power a ritual. So yeah, these coins are very, very valuable. Holy shit.
Oh, Jason said. He had previously examined the lesser spirit coins, which didn't have an option to increase attributes. He tried to remember if there was a strength attribute. So I consume this to increase my attributes, Jason said. Consume as in eat? Yes, Jason, it's very easy, Rufus said. You just put the coin in your mouth. Once you do, you'll have only a few moments to force open the cage. So these attributes, Jason said. I assume one of them is strength? The power attribute increases strength, Rufus said. The coin will increase them all, but only for a very short time.
Okay.
Jason placed the coin uncertainly on his tongue, where it dissolved like a soluble tablet.
Hurry up!
His body was immediately flooded with a tingling sensation, and he felt an immense sense of power. His senses were sharpened. Eyes already able to see through the dark suddenly took in everything, as if seeing it for the first time. His ears picked up ambient sounds he had previously missed. He could taste the blood, sweat, and dirt on the air. It only lasted a fleeting moment before the world went back to normal, suddenly seeming dull and plain.
You dumb! You just wasted it!
Jason? Rufus asked.
You stupid!
Yes, Rufus. Did you use the coin? I did, yes. I don't want to pressure you, but did you, perchance, forget to open the cage?
Bruh, this motherfucker is so dumb, yo! What is wrong with this dude? He literally was so absorbed in the sensations that he completely forgot about, oh, I'm supposed to be opening up the cage. Like, I swear, like, bro, you are an idiot, yo. Like, holy shit. Like, you only got 4? No, he got 16. He got 16, but then he got 4 of the gold ones. Bruh, that's crazy. And listen, they're being so patient with this guy. It's like, Chase, did you use the coin? Yes, I did use the coin. Did you just forget to open up the cage? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, bro? Like, like, where did you graduate?
Jason? Rufus asked. Yes, Rufus. Did you use the coin? I did, yes. I don't want to pressure you, but did you, perchance, forget to open the cage?
I don't want to pressure you.
Sorry, Jason said. I got distracted. This is who you're relying on to save us? The woman's voice spoke up again. Still not helping, Anissa, Rufus told her. Jason took out a second silver-ranked coin and put it in his mouth. This time, as the sensation of power came over him, he placed his feet against the cage door, easily bracing himself in the tight confines. His feet pushed out with a temporary surge of strength, the hinges on the cage door warping. He pushed harder, and the door fell away just as the strength drained out of him again. He crawled out of the cage and stood up. Waves of dizziness washed over him, and he gripped the cage to stay upright.
So should they have heard? They should have heard the metal cage, like, you know, the shit creaking and breaking off. They should have heard that shit, you would think, right?
His body felt weak, even more than it had when he woke up. Are there side effects to those coins? Jason asked. You used a coin with more power than your body could handle, Rufus said. It will recover. A little more slowly, though, since you used 2 of them in quick succession.
Dumb.
Jason looked over at the other cages, and a screen popped up. New quest. Escape. You have been trapped in the cellar of the Blood Cult, and you need to get away. Objective. Leave the grounds of Vane Estate without being caught. 0 of 1. Reward. Essence. Optional objective. Rescue your fellow prisoners. 0 of 4. Reward. Awakening Stone.
Oh, bro, you get an Awakening Stone. Oh, you gotta rescue them, bro. You gotta rescue them. But how's he gonna get them out? Because he can't use another of them coins, otherwise he's gonna be too debilitated. So he's gotta find like some sort of key or something. But then guess what? He got the shadow cloak, so he can like go in the night and like try to sneak and find that key.
Rufus said. Now you need to find something to get the rest of us out. Giving us some silver coins would work if you have more. That won't be enough for Gary's cage, though. You shouldn't use more coins yourself until you've recovered. Jason pulled out the big keyring. I'm hoping this does the job, he said. Couldn't reach the lock from inside the cage. Even better, Rufus said.
Right, the
I'd rather not
keyring.
have to fight our way out of here suffering the after effects of using a coin. Rufus pointed to the large hairy man in the oversized cage. Him first, Rufus said. Jason went over to the big cage, getting a better look at its occupant. His body was the size and shape of a professional wrestler, and the parts not covered by his clothes were covered in fur. His head looked like a lion, complete with a glorious mane. So you're Gary? Jason asked. He crouched down and started trying keys on the lock. That's right, the big man said. His voice had a deep, growling timbre.
That's right.
I'm Jason, he said. You look like Ron
I'm
Perlman
Jason,
in that
hi.
old Beauty and the Beast TV show.
Jeez.
I have no idea what that means. Gary said.
Okay. So I'm wondering. Okay, is the other thing that separates him from everybody else? The same thing with Sun Jin Woo back in Solo Leveling. Does everybody else have an inventory? Do they have a quest and objectives, or is it just him? It seemed like it might just be him. But I don't know for sure.
I'd say good to meet you, Jason said, as he continued trying keys. But the circumstances aren't terrific. Thanks for not just running off, Gary said. Are you kidding? I need you lot to get me out of wherever it is we are. We're in a storage cellar. I can see that much, Jason said. I meant this whole place. I have no idea where we are. You don't know, Gary asked. Did they kidnap you? Someone did, Jason said. I woke up in a hedge maze. Gary the Lion Man's voice seemed to be growly as a default. Look out, Rufus called, and Jason turned to look around. There was a doorway that seemed to lead into another section of the cellar, through which the man Dougal had returned, shovel in hand.
Oh shit.
Cheeky little sod,
Here's
Dougal said.
with the shovel.
Jason tried to think quick, but his head was far from in its best state. Shoving the keyring back into his inventory, he got up from his crouch, but was hit by a dizzy spell and stumbled.
Oh my
The shovel
God.
came down, and everything went black.
Are you serious, bro? There's no way! What the fuck?
Chapter 10.
This dude gonna let himself get knocked out again? Oh my god. Damn, they're going fast as hell on a motorcycle. That's crazy. This dude got hit again by... The shovel is undefeated, man. It's undefeated. What the hell? That's crazy. That's crazy. Bruh. But does that mean that they can... So can they get inside his inventory without killing him? I wonder. Because wouldn't they be like, oh, how did you get out? He probably used the coin. Take all his coins. Man, I cannot believe this dude got hit in the head with a shovel again. I cannot. I really can't. Like, that is some... That's another L, bro. Jason is just continuing with L's, man. That's crazy.
The evil pit of evil. Jason was jerked back into consciousness as his body choked out more vomit. His throat seared as his empty stomach tried to cast out what wasn't there, almost gagging him. His head was filled with stabbing pain, and when he opened his eyes, everything blurred like he was underwater. The only clear thing was the little silhouette showing his health, the head now a glaring red. His thoughts skittered about like a roach, dashing out of reach as he tried to pin them down.
Critical level.
Slowly, he came to something approximating his senses. There was a light source somewhere up ahead, but the light it put out was blood red. Otherwise, the tunnel was dark, but his new power allowed him to see through it. He was once again in a cage, but bigger than the last. It was the same kind of heavy cage the Lion Man had been in, with thick, heavy bars. Apparently, they didn't want him kicking the door open again. His cage was being rolled down a wide stone tunnel, on some kind of moving platform. It was more like a train tunnel than a cave,
That's
with
so
an arched roof and flat floors.
dumb,
There was even a rail,
bro.
like for a mining cart, with his platform being pushed along it.
So dumb.
3 more cages were being pushed the same way, 1 ahead and 2 behind. The people pushing wore bright red robes and ugly demon masks. More of them led the way up front, carrying lanterns with stained glass that produced the ominous red light. Jason wasn't thinking about what to do so much as desperately hoping the pain in his head would subside. He was concentrating on his breathing when a screen appeared. Quest. Escape. Objective failed. Leave the grounds of Vane Manor without being caught. Quest failed.
Oh, damn, he failed the quest. I thought that, like, maybe he'd have another chance. No, No, he ain't got another chance to escape. So maybe he gotta like negotiate. Maybe he gotta like barter with somebody. Be like, listen, I do this, if you do this, don't kill me. This motherfucker could not escape. He couldn't get the essence stone that he was going. Man, that's terrible, bro. But I mean, but okay, but maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing because we don't want the characters to be like completely overpowered, super genius, can get through this shit so easily, no big deal. So he's a novice, right? He's got a lot to learn. So he just needs to go through some training. That's what he needs. He needs some more training. But like, I mean, you gotta be able to do some common sense shit though. Like not run into a shovel twice.
The pain in his head would subside. He was concentrating on his breathing when a screen appeared. Quest. Escape. Objective failed. Leave the grounds of Vane Manor without being caught. Quest failed. New quest. The Blood Feast. You have been captured and are set to be sacrificed by a blood cult. You need to avoid becoming a sacrifice. Objective. Avoid being sacrificed. 0 of 1. Reward. Essence. Optional objective. Save the other designated sacrifices. 0 of 3. Reward. Awakening Stone.
Wait, so that was only 3. It's only 3, so that means that one of them are gone. Because he had 4. He had 4 at first that he had to rescue. Now there's only 3, so one of them must be gone. That's fucked up. But then now he just has to avoid being sacrificed. I mean, that's not that much different than escaping, but it's just a different circumstance, I guess. Man, we'll see what happens, yo.
The long tunnel ended in a pair of enormous stone doors, into which impressive but grotesque images had been carved, depicting some kind of cannibalistic orgy. 4 cultists stepped forward, 2 to a door, grabbing the handles and pulling back until the doors swung ponderously open. When they did, red light flooded the tunnel, accompanied by an incredible heat and a bitter smell. It washed through the doors and over the group like a wave, carrying with it a coppery taste that lay thick on the tongue. "That's a lot of red flags," Jason said. A fist landed hard on the side of his cage. "Quiet!" A harsh voice barked. Beyond the doors was a vast circular chamber, like a great cylinder carved straight out of solid rock, some 25 meters across and at least twice as high. It was enough to boggle Jason's mind, even through his punch-drunk haze. The walls were black, like some long dormant magma chamber, but even starting from a natural cavern, it would have been a monumental labor to bring it to its current state. Flat stone slabs carved out of the same black stone had been inserted into the walls like pegs. They made a punishingly steep set of stairs that wound their way up to the higher parts of the chamber. Dominating the room was a red pool of roiling, bubbling liquid, taking up almost all the floor space. It was the source of the light, along with the heat and coppery stench of blood. The center of the pool churned, as if on the point of boiling. The sound of thick, sloshing liquid echoed up through the chamber. The red light shone from deep within the pool, washing the whole chamber in red, as if everything was coated in blood. "That isn't good," Jason heard from one of the other caged people. It was Rufus, who had told him how to use the spirit coins. The Lion Man was there in his own big cage, along with one of the 2 women. The other was nowhere to be seen. One of the robed cultists bashed on the side of Rufus's cage. "I said quiet."
One of the guy probably took one of the elves because he said that he wanted to get one of the elves, so that was probably who he took. He took one of the elves to eat. So that's fucked up. But yeah, man, he's been racking up these elves, bro. Like that's crazy. Like we just got started. I mean, I get it. Like he's new, you know. I mean, if you want to compare him to Arthur, it's not no comparison. Like Arthur had a whole, what was he like, 42 years old or some shit like that when he woke up in his new world. So he's got, you know, decades of experience leading people and fighting and all the other stuff with the sword. But man, I mean, I think me and you could do a better job than this dude, yo. Like I got these abilities, got the cloak, got this dagger. I ain't about to get hit with no fucking shovel and drop my dagger, and then you finally get a chance to escape. I'm not about to waste 2 coins, so that way I'm even more dizzy and more what did he say? You gotta recover and shit. But I mean, I don't know. Let's just go. I still don't know how long I'll be doing this, but we're gonna keep going. I mean, this might be a longer live though. I'll probably end up reading T-Bait later. I'm not in a rush to read T-Bait.
"What?" the Lion Man grumbled. "You'll sacrifice us in your creepy ritual pit." The other prisoners were also dirty and ragged, but nothing like Jason. He had no shirt, no hair, and there was blood and old healing ointment crusted all over him. His face was coated in blood from his broken nose, along with puffy black eyes and flecks of vomit. The rail that had carried the cages on platforms through the tunnel ended at the door. The cultists lifted the cages off, 2 people to each small cage, and 4 to the large ones. They carried them up the steep stairs, audibly straining at the effort. The Lion Man's cage was the most troublesome, even with 4 people lugging it. The stairs wound up and around the circular wall, the group pausing after a quarter turn. They had reached a platform set into the wall like the stairs, but much larger. It extended well over the blood pit below. "Leave the big one first," one of the cultists said. "No point carrying the heaviest one all the way to the top." Jason recognized the voice of the woman he had heard in the cellar while pretending to be unconscious. "Thank you, milady," one of the cultists said, gratefully.
That's the mom.
Jason recognized the voice as the shovel-carrying man she had addressed as Dougal.
Fucking shovel is
The
enemy.
cage holding the big man was left against the wall. Dougal and one of the other cultists walked over to the edge of the platform and took up a waiting position, facing out over the pool below. The rest continued on. The stairs continued to wind upwards beyond the platform, making another quarter turn around the room before reaching a second platform. "Leave the other big cage," the woman said. "Isn't he the one that killed the young master?" one of the cultists asked. "You don't want to save that one for last?" "I'm not going to make you haul that thing all the way up for my own satisfaction." "Thank you, milady." The 4 cultists roughly dropped Jason's cage up against the wall. As at the first platform, 2 cultists took up positions at the platform's edge, while the rest of the cultists with the remaining 2 cages resumed the climb. Jason watched as they made another quarter-turn ascent to the next platform, which hid them from sight. Jason took a look around. His vision was still blurry, like looking through a stranger's glasses, but it was slowly improving. The platform he was on looked like rough-hewn obsidian, shiny and dark. He had no idea how the massive stone platform had been shoved into the wall like a 6-ton peg. Examining the cage, he found that the bars were much thicker than the last one he had been in. Looking closer, Jason realized there even seemed to be faint traces of magical engravings on them.
Oh,
Oddly,
damn.
Jason recognized them as reinforcing magic. The knowledge from the skill book was making itself known. It was an odd sensation, remembering something he had never learned. He was certain the silver spirit coin he used before wouldn't be enough to break out, and he couldn't reach the lock through the narrow bars to try his keyring.
I mean, he got the gold coin. He got 4 of the gold coins. So they're probably not expecting to go. But if he used another one of those coins before he recovers, wouldn't it still be bad for him? Or has he recovered? Is he going to be recovering soon? That's the only thing I can think of is the gold coins.
Pulling out one of the gold-ranked coins, he turned it over in his hand.
Okay.
Unlike the ones he got from looting monsters, this one was embossed with the profile of a somber man on one side and some kind of crest on the other, along with the engraved word Greenstone. His hope was that the gold coin would be powerful enough. He looked up at the 2 people standing at the edge of the platform. He couldn't tell if they were men or women in their hooded robes, but neither were paying attention to him. Instead, they were at the edge of the platform looking out. If he could escape the cage...
But he's got to wait, though. He's got to wait. He can't use his coin right away. He's got to wait because we don't know how, like, recovered he is. Because if he used that coin, it might have even worse effects. And he might be able to get out, but then once he gets out, he's going to be passed out again, and then he just back to where he started. So, and it's crazy that he got out and they wouldn't search him or anything.
Quickly enough, there was a chance to rush at least one of them right off the edge. He took a deep breath, focusing on the coin in his hand. He placed it on his tongue. He thought the silver coin had flooded him with strength, but that had been a meager trickle compared to the gold. It was like having a hurricane inside him, and he lashed out with his feet, hoping it was enough to burst open the cage door. Instead of opening, the door shot off its hinges like it was fired from a cannon, metal screeching as the whole front of the cage was warped.
Damn!
The door moved almost too fast to see, barely deflecting as it slammed into one of the cultists,
Damn!
coming off the edge of the platform. They didn't even scream, dead the moment the cage door crushed the top half of their bodies. You have defeated Blood Cultist. Startled, Jason crawled from the ruined front of the cage.
Hurry up, bro!
The other cultist reacted quickly, turning and rushing Jason. The coin's power was fading quickly, and Jason threw out a fist with the lingering strength of the coin behind it. To his horror, his fist buried itself in the cultist's chest cavity. The cultist let out a gurgling sound, dropping off Jason's fist as the strength from the coin left him.
Damn!
Jason looked in shock at his own bloody fist. You have defeated Blood Cultist. It wasn't just his newfound strength that left him as the power of the coin faded. The strain of the coin's power left him feeling enervated, barely staying on his feet. His eyes wanted to close, his body urging him just to lay down.
Fight through it, bruh!
He was jolted back to wakefulness by a powerful, roaring voice. They're coming for you! Jason's head snapped up and saw multiple cultists running back down the stairs. Looking around, the pair from below were coming up as well. Peering over the edge, he spotted the door below, on the far side of the blood-red pool. he had a terrible idea. Magic power? You'd better work.
All right, his
As he
cloak.
backed up,
His
the
cloak.
starlight cloak formed about
His
his
cloak
body.
can make him weightless, or not weightless, but like can reduce his weight so he can drop from high heights. Oh, I told you that shit is dope, man. This is
Drowning
cool.
him in light-speckled darkness. After a stealing breath, he ran to the edge, leaping out as he urged the cloak's power to reduce his weight. He sailed through the air, shadow cloak sweeping out behind him like a trail of stars. Floating over the bloody pool, he landed almost perfectly in front of the huge stone doors, still open. That went startlingly well. He looked up at the stairs, spotting the cultists bolting down them in pursuit. He ran through the doors and into the tunnel, then stopped. Just run, he told himself. You can't save them.
You gotta rescue. You gotta rescue.
Just run. Instead of running, he ducked behind one of the heavy stone doors, which the cultists had not opened fully due to their enormous weight.
He's hiding.
He pressed himself between the wall and the door and waited. The cloak dimmed, going from bright stars to melding Jason into the shadows as he admonished himself silently.
Damn.
Well done, idiot. Now you're going to be tossed into a pit of blood by cannibals and then probably eaten. Good job.
But
Cultists came rushing through the door, sprinting up the tunnel as fast as their bulky ceremonial robes would allow. None of them so much as glanced back at Jason's hiding spot. Jason stayed stock still and cowered behind the door as more cultists came through.
So how is he gonna get them out though? Because that key wasn't working, or he couldn't use it in time.
Chapter 11. Dashing Heroics. Once the footsteps had died down, Jason cautiously stuck his head around the door, but didn't see any more cultists. Even returning to the chamber, he didn't see anyone. Whoever hadn't chased up the tunnel were most likely on the platforms above. He made his way up the stairs, as quietly as he could, with still no cultists in sight, as he reached the first platform. He dismissed the cloak as he approached the Lion Man's cage. It had the same heavy bars and large space as Jason's cage, but where Jason had been able to stretch out, the Lion Man barely fit. Sorry, Jason said as he fished the key ring from his inventory. I've been hit on the head a lot today, so I don't remember your name. Gary, the Lion Man said, a low rumbling growl to his voice. I didn't think you were coming back. I tried to talk myself out of it, believe me. Instincts of a hero, Gary said.
A hero.
I'd probably put it down to compromised judgment, Jason said. I've been knocked out several times today. Jason kept trying keys. I'm not even sure one of these will work, he said. I was hoping to do this quietly, but I still have some more coins. Ah, there we go. The lock clicked open, and Gary squeezed his enormous frame through the door. Inside the cage, it looked like a professional wrestler, but now, towering over Jason, he looked like he'd eaten a professional wrestler. Is there a key for my collar on that thing? Gary asked. Around his neck was a thick iron choker. No idea, Jason said. Give me a look at that. Jason handed over the keyring. It had an unhelpful abundance of keys, and Gary started looking over them for what he needed. Despite his lion-like head, his hands were fairly human, albeit huge and hairy. While he went through them, Jason looked around. There didn't seem to be any cultists coming down the stairs or back in from the tunnel. What he did find was some kind of ceremonial bowl built into the top of the cage. Inside was a round crystal, very dark red in color. He picked it up. Item, Awakening Stone of the Feast, unranked, common. An awakening stone that unlocks the power of consumption. Consumable, awakening stone. Requirements, unawakened essence ability. Effect, awakens an essence ability. You have 3 unawakened essence abilities. You are able to absorb Awakening Stone of the Feast. Absorb, yes, no.
Okay.
He shoved the stone into his inventory.
Okay.
None of these are for a suppression collar, Gary said. They got these collars especially for us, so whoever you took the keys from mustn't have been in on it. Yeah, I think he was on the outs with the family a bit, Jason said. He seemed to have his own thing going on. What does that collar do exactly? It suppresses all essence abilities, Gary said. Some race powers too, but not all of them. Does it suppress you from being a huge guy who can kick the crap out of people? A grin Jason could only describe as predatory crossed Gary's leonine face. No, it doesn't. Gary took the lead as they went up the stairs towards the next platform, which they reached unchallenged. Jason's cage was empty, the bars on the front bent outwards. The dead cultist was still laying on the platform with a hole in his chest. While Gary knelt down to examine it, Jason checked the top of his cage. There was another ceremonial bowl, but it had been dislodged. Jason looked around a bit and found another awakening stone of the feast, where it had fallen to the platform when he kicked his way out of the cage. He slipped it into his inventory.
There we go!
What happened to this guy? Gary asked. Jason held up a still bloody fist. Gary looked from Jason's hand to the corpse to the blasted-out cage. I think at this point, Gary said, they may be wishing they'd just let you go. How did you get mixed up in this anyway? Not really the time, Jason said. Right. Good job, though. It wasn't a good job, Jason said. I killed someone. What do you think they dragged us out in cages for?
Right.
Gary asked.
The fuck you
It
talking
wasn't
about?
a dance for their entertainment. Killing them in return doesn't make us any better than they are. Sure it does.
What?
Gary said. Better at killing. Look out.
What are you talking about?
Jason turned to see 3 cultists coming down the stairs.
Oh shit.
Gary stepped forwards to meet them, grabbing the first pair each by the throat. He lifted them up, one dangling from each hand as he
damn.
walked them over to the edge and dropped them into the blood pool.
Damn.
As Gary walked off,
Jeez.
Jason was left face to face with a 3rd cultist still on the stairs.
You gotta take out
Jason's
one.
eyes went wide with panic. He dropped to his knees, hands held out in supplication.
What?
Please don't kill me. I don't want to die. The cultist's surprise registered even through the loose robes and mask.
Is this a joke?
Jason used that moment to shove a fist right into the cultist's crotch.
Okay.
A strained
shit.
groaning came from behind the mask as Jason lashed out a 2nd and 3rd time, leaving the cultist doubled over.
Damn.
Jason stood up, grabbed the cultist by the robes, and shoved him right off the side of the stairs.
Damn.
You have defeated Blood Cultist. Did I just hear you begging? Gary asked, walking back.
It
Wasn't a lie,
tactic.
Jason said.
It was
I really
strategy.
don't want to die. Gary laughed as he led the way to the 3rd platform, which was now unattended. Whoever had been manning it had either pursued Jason out the door or been thrown to the pit below. Gary and Jason walked over to the cage, which contained Rufus. Chapter 9.
Wait.
Escape.
Wait. I don't know what just happened, but I think I fucked up. Hold on.
Chapter 10.
Was I on chapter 11?
The Evil Pit of Evil.
No.
Ooh. Jason's head snapped up and saw multiple cultists running back down the stairs. Looking around, the pair from below were...
Yeah, that's not right.
Chapter 11. Dashing Heroics. There didn't seem to be any cultists coming down the stairs or back in from the tunnel, the top of his cage. There was another ceremonial bowl, but it had been dislodged. Jason asked. Jason used that moment to shove a fist right into the cultist's crotch. A strained groaning bested and challenges overcome. That's not fair, Skin. A bald head and was stupidly handsome. Roughed up and which contained Rufus. Jason... Gary laughed as he led the way to the 3rd. You have defeated Blood Cultists.
Okay, there we go.
Did I just hear you begging? Gary
Oh,
asked,
I messed
walking
up.
back. It wasn't a lie, Jason said. I really don't want to die. Gary laughed as he led the way to the 3rd platform, which was now unattended. Whoever had been manning it had either pursued Jason out the door or been thrown to the pit below. Gary and Jason walked over to the cage, which contained Rufus. Jason now knew the right key to open the cages, which he used promptly. Rufus crawled out the door and stood up, giving Jason his first clear look at him. Rufus had dark skin, a bald head, and was stupidly handsome. Roughed up and grimy from his ordeal, he looked like an action hero heading into Act 3, with masculine dirt stains reflecting enemies bested and challenges overcome.
Okay.
That's not fair.
So Rufus
Jason
is like a
said.
main character.
What isn't? Rufus asked,
Main
his
character
voice like
type.
dark chocolate. It doesn't matter, Jason muttered. Let's just go. Too bad I don't have a weapon, Rufus said, and Jason produced the evil trowel. It's not much,
Right.
Jason said,
He
but
need-
it is suspiciously sharp.
He need his
I'll take it, Rufus said gratefully,
He need
looking it over in
his
hand.
dagger.
It is suspiciously sharp, isn't it?
His epic dagger.
Gary and Rufus led the way up, Jason pausing to snatch a 3rd awakening stone from the top of Rufus's cage. As they ascended the stairs, a lone cultist walked casually down to obstruct them. The cultist pulled her hood back and took off her mask, revealing long dark hair and the face of a young woman. She pulled a short sword out from within the folds of her robes. I've got this one, Rufus said, stepping past Gary. He brandished the trowel in the woman's direction. Alicia Vane, I
Okay.
presume, he said. I was disappointed that I wouldn't get to cross swords with the famous Rufus Remore, she said with a sneer. Looks like I'm lucky after all. Rufus didn't respond, instead lunging forward. What followed was a blaze of movement so fast Jason had, at best, a vague grasp of what was taking place. They bobbed and weaved, both restricted by the width of the stairs. Between them was a blur of motion, sword against trowel. Despite the inferior weapon and the lower ground, Rufus was pushing the cultist back.
Man.
That's enough, Alicia. A voice came
Pushing
down from
him
above.
back
Jason recognized it as
with
the
the
woman from
collar
basement.
on?
With a look of reluctance, Alicia disengaged from her fight with Rufus and started backing up the stairs. Rufus lazily tossed the trowel into the air, where Gary smoothly snatched it and launched it out with a flick of his powerful arm. The practiced ease of the pair's teamwork took Alicia by surprise. She failed to react before the trowel lodged itself in her throat. You'll die in pain for that, you hairy brute! The woman's voice came fiercely down. As the woman yelled, Alicia dropped her sword, clutching at the trowel buried in her throat, and
Here we go again.
she staggered and fell off the stairs. You'll die in pain for that, you hairy brute! The woman's voice came fiercely down. As the woman yelled, Alicia dropped her sword, clutching at the trowel buried in her throat, as she staggered and fell off the stairs. Rufus moved forward, snatching up the dropped sword as he went. He led the way up to the final platform. The last cage, and the woman inside it, were against the wall like all the others. The platform was slightly longer than the one below, with some kind of ritual altar on the end. There were two figures standing in front of it. Rufus and Gary stepped onto the platform first, while behind them Jason pulled a gold spirit coin from his inventory and discreetly palmed it. The final two cultists had both removed their masks and hoods. The woman seemed much younger than Jason expected, for someone with adult children. To Jason's eyes, she looked to be in her early 30s, no older than her son, Landon.
Oh,
she was beautiful,
That's
with the
crazy.
same olive skin and dark hair as her daughter. The man next to her, by contrast, was plain. His ceremonial robes looked like those of a chartered accountant at a costume party. Despite his appearance, the man quickly demonstrated his power was not to be dismissed. He threw out his arms, and Rufus and Gary were both thrown back, slamming into the wall.
Oh, damn.
Glowing chains emerged from the stone to wrap around their limbs, binding them in place. Jason, now the last one left, looked nervously at the now helpless pair.
Wow.
You're still causing trouble, the woman said to Jason. First my son, now my daughter. They may have been worthless, but weren't for the likes of you to kill. Not a lot of pictures up.
Bruh, damn, she's just like, listen, they may have been trash, but you're not supposed to take out the trash. It was not up to you to take out the trash. Like, that shit crazy, bro. Like, these parents in this story so far is heartless. Very, very, very heartless. I think that Alicia was the one chick who fucking fell off the cliff, died and shit. That shit crazy.
Fridge, I'm guessing. Silence! The man roared. You think you can stop what I will do today? You think any of you can stop me? Whether due to the absurdity of the situation, the concussion, or just pure adrenaline, Jason couldn't take the man seriously. Even with the power he had just demonstrated, he just seemed like a petty little man who hated to be ignored. Mate, Jason said, I don't know if anyone told you, but you're very melodramatic. The man's face flashed with fury. You will bow before the magic of Daryl Carruthers, worshipping my name as I... Wait, hold on.
Daryl?
Jason interrupted, holding up a hand. Did you say your name was Daryl Carruthers? You have heard of my greatness? Sorry, mate, no. It's just that Daryl Carruthers isn't exactly a high priest of evil kind of name. What? Jason gestured at the woman. I mean, what's your name? I am Lady Cressida Vane, she sneered. See, now there's a quality high priest name, Jason said. High Priestess Lady Cressida Vane. Just listen to it. You can practically hear the tyranny. Stop babbling, Daryl scolded. This doesn't... Why didn't they put you in charge? Jason asked Cressida, ignoring Daryl. He gave her a sympathetic look. They didn't want a woman in charge, did they? Daryl's face was starting to redden with anger.
Wow.
That has nothing to do with... Oh, be quiet, Daryl.
Wow.
Cressida spat out.
Okay.
You and I both know who should be running things.
Okay.
But they refuse to let a woman
He's
take a seat at the red table.
causing some
If I
tension.
was, stop being hysterical, Cressida, Daryl said. Hysterical? I should. Neither had noticed Jason edging closer from the moment he started provoking them, or when he slipped the gold coin in his mouth as they turned on one another.
Oh, damn.
Strength flowed through him again, but this time joined by pinching, cramping pain. It was too soon since he used the last coin,
Yeah,
and
bruh.
his body was paying the price.
Getting fucked
He
up.
fought through it and stepped between the bickering pair. They both looked at him in surprise as he shoved out a hand from either side, one slamming into each of them.
Damn.
The result was like firing them from a catapult. They both hurtled through the air horizontally, not even arcing down with gravity, before they smashed into the sides of the chamber. The
Sheesh.
sheer force crushed them into the hard stone,
Wait, are
from
they-
which they tumbled down out of sight.
Are they dead?
You have defeated
Damn!
the cult leader.
Damn!
You have defeated.
He defeated both! Shit! But listen, what are gonna be the effects though? Like, is he gonna be able to move after this? Damn, he defeated both of them in just one move. That's wild, man. Them coins, them coins are a cheat code, but he can't be. But wait, he used two of them, so he's only got two left, and he can't be. Man, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Blood cult leader.
That's crazy.
Chapter 12. Sanguine Horror. That was amazing, Gary said, coming up to slap Jason on the back. Jason staggered forwards to support himself on the altar at the end of the platform. The way you made them disregard you as a threat by appearing weak and harmless, Gary praised.
That was smart.
Feeble and helpless, even touched in the head a little.
I'll give him a W on that. So he gets one W. So one W will kind of cancel out one L. So right now he's got one L right now. So he needs to do some more stuff. But right now he's got one L instead of two. So he's doing okay. He still need to prove himself though.
Masterful how impotent you came across. Even after you kept escaping from the cage, they had no respect for you as a threat whatsoever. Please stop complimenting me, Jason said. The strength of the coin was gone, and the backlash of two in quick succession was enervating. His mana and stamina bars had drained to almost empty, and adrenaline was the only thing keeping him awake. How did you get down off that wall? Jason asked. The magic died with him, Rufus said, also approaching. Which was lucky, because it doesn't always work that way. You'd have had a right problem getting us down, Gary said. How about someone gets me out of this cage? A female voice asked, impatiently. It wasn't the same voice that had been dismissing him back in the cellar. That person must have been the one whose place Jason took. Jason staggered over to the cage, swiping the stone on top into his inventory as he took the keys out. The woman inside the cage was pretty, with strawberry blonde hair and a button nose. She was clearly unhappy, although startlingly cute.
And
as he opened up the cage and let her out,
and
Jason
two eyes
wondered why
made
his
out
people
of
were all so
coal.
attractive. Thanks for the rescue, she said to Jason, tamping down her annoyance, before blasting at full force at Rufus and Gary. What the hell were you two doing? I had to get saved by a random homeless man. He only seems like that, Gary said. It's all a cunning ruse. Jason left the three of them talking, while he wandered back to the altar at the edge of the platform.
Random homeless
It was
man.
decorated with grotesque carvings that appeared to heavily feature teeth. On top of the altar was a thick book, left open halfway through. Glancing over the text, he could only understand fragments. Having used the ritual magic skill book he took from Landomir, the knowledge it imbued him with offered some insights, but this new book was still above his head. The content seemed to involve a more specific field of magic, operating at a higher level than the skill book allowed him to grasp. What have you got? The woman asked, walking up to the altar next to him. Not sure, Jason said, pushing the book in front of her. Looks like they were trying to make something, but it's well beyond my expertise. I only found out magic exists today. I'm Jason, by the way. She gave him an odd look. Farah, thanks again for the rescue.
Farah?
No worries. I figured the best way out of wherever we are was to get you three to help me. Can you make anything out from that book? She turned her attention back to the pages in front of her. You're right about them making something, she said, flipping through pages. Something not very nice. I got that much from context, he said, waving his hand at the chamber around them, black stone reflecting blood-red light from below. Fair point, Farah laughed. While she continued examining the book, Jason looked around some more, noticing Gary and Rufus were gone. Where'd the others go? He asked. They went to see if those cultists you let off are coming back, Farah said. I completely forgot about them, Jason said. Looking around some more, he found a small white sack next to the altar. He picked it up and looked inside. It held a white, crystalline powder. He pinched some between his fingers. Item: salt. Normal. Common. Ordinary salt. Crafting material. Effect: common ingredient for use in cooking or magic rituals. Salt, he said, curiously. It's good for making quick and easy magic circles, Farah explained, not looking up from the book. A lot of ritual magicians keep some around, me included. Jason dropped the sack back down next to the altar. There didn't seem to be anything else of interest, but he noticed that Farah had the same iron collar as Gary and Rufus. I don't suppose the key to your neck thing is here somewhere? Jason said. Cressida had it, Farah said. Jason glanced at the wall, where Cressida had crashed into it before dropping out of sight.
Damn.
Oh, sorry, I pushed her into the pit. Things would have gone a lot worse if you hadn't, Farah said. Jason looked over at the stairs leading down. Can I ask you something about Gary? He asked. What's that? Are there a lot of lion people running around, or was he cursed or something? Farah looked up from the book, again giving Jason a curious gaze. You've never seen a Leonid before. I'm not local, Jason said.
What?
That's coming across, she said. Leonids are a normal race you'd see anywhere in the world. Good to know, Jason said. She frowned curiously, but turned back to the book while Jason continued to look around. He peered over the edge, down at the red pit far below. It could have been his imagination, but the room seemed to be getting hotter. The sloshing noise of the pit below seemed louder as well. He spotted Rufus and Gary making their way back up the stairs. The others are coming back up, Jason said. That's not good, Farah said. That seems rude, Jason said. No, Farah said.
That means they
I'm
didn't
trying
find
to think
the
of what the
key.
cultists were up to. Bad? Very bad. She waited for Gary and Rufus to arrive before explaining. No sign of the other cultists, Gary said, and one of the wagons was gone. I'm guessing they came back, saw their high priest splattered on the ground, and decided to make a run for it.
Okay.
Quest, the Blood Feast. Objective complete. Avoid being sacrificed.
All right.
1 of 1.
He gets another stone.
Blood Essence.
Blood
Optional
Essence.
objective complete. Save the other designated sacrifices. 3 of 3. Reward, Awakening Stone of Adventure. Quest
Adventure?
complete. 100 Bronze Spirit coins have been added to your inventory. 1,000 Iron Spirit coins have been added to your inventory.
Okay.
Jason's eyes lit up at the sight of another essence, but it wasn't the time to start going over his loot, and he closed the window.
No, you gotta go over the
know what I'm
loot,
doing
bro.
Farah told Gary and Rufus. I'd assume some kind of summoning ritual, Rufus said. More like trying to create something, Farah said. It's called a sanguine horror, an artificial creature made from alchemy, blood, and things best left unmentioned. Sounds friendly, Gary said. It's an apocalypse beast, Farah said.
What?
A world ender. A hive mind made up of carrion leeches that rot your flesh as they drain you dry. It feeds on blood to multiply itself, growing in mass and power until there's nothing strong enough to stop it. Then it spreads and spreads until there's nothing left to consume. Why would anyone create something like that?
That's crazy.
Jason asked. They presumably had some way to control it, Rufus said. Use it as a weapon. That's a big gamble with an apocalypse beast, Farah said. Maybe that's possible before it gets too powerful. Until it feeds enough to grow strong, it remains vulnerable. Seems like way too high a chance of going wrong, Jason said. Speaking of which, Rufus said, have you noticed it's getting hotter in here? No, Farah said. Yes, Jason said, at the same time. It's more noticeable closer to the pool, Rufus said. The smell is stronger down there too, Gary said. They should probably be tossing us into the blood pit by now, Rufus said. Is something going wrong because we interrupted them? I think we're overlooking something, Jason said. What's that? Farah asked. Are we sure we interrupted them? They were going to throw the 4 of us into the pit, right?
Wait.
Right.
So they
Rufus
got
said.
into the pit instead.
Well, Jason said.
Right.
How many people did we throw in? Farah's pretty brown eyes went wide.
Bruh.
Oh no, she
Wow.
said, turning back to the altar and started madly flipping through pages of the book. As the others waited, a screen appeared in front of Jason. New quest, the Sanguine Horror. Destroy the Sanguine Horror before it becomes too grave a threat. Objective,
Wow.
destroy the Sanguine Horror, 0 of 1. Reward, Essence.
So that bitch is here.
Oh crap. Jason
It's
said.
here. He gotta defeat it. So at least that means it can be defeated. They just gotta defeat it before it becomes too big of a threat. That's crazy. It seems to me like he's the only one that can see these objectives and these missions, because it don't seem like anybody else can get objectives and missions and shit. So
Said. Farah snapped the book shut. It was a hefty tome, and she tucked it under one arm. I'm pretty sure we just finished their job for them, Farah said.
that's crazy.
I don't think they'll appreciate it, Rufus said. Are we the blood cult now? Gary asked. We have to get down there and stop it, while it's still weak, Farah said. Will the book help? Gary asked. Not at all, Farah said. If we have to do it, we have to do it, Rufus said. Failing that, we go find someone stronger to deal with it. A lot stronger. Do you think Amir has arrived yet? Gary asked.
Amir?
No, Rufus said. He's weeks away at best. Then we need to handle this ourselves, Farah said.
He must
I don't
be
trust the competence of the
one
locals.
of the strong ones.
This guy's all right, Gary said, dropping a hand on Jason's shoulder that almost knocked him over. I'm not local, Jason said. I'm concerned that we don't have our abilities with these collars, Rufus said. You sure there's nothing in the book about how to fight it? No, I'm not, Farah snapped. I've had it for about 8 minutes, and it's written in a language that you haven't even heard of. So maybe there's something in there, but I'm not going to find it by randomly skimming through a few pages. Did you check for an index? Gary asked. Farah's eyes landed on Gary like attack dogs. I guess there's no time for a search, Gary said, heading for the stairs.
So they gotta get those collars
Let's go,
off.
Rufus said, following after Gary. Farah watched them vanish down the steep staircase, then turned to the back of the book. Jason narrowed his eyes as he watched her. Are you checking for an index? Chapter 13. This is the part where we step back.
Wait, what?
The 3 former captives pounded down the stairs as Jason followed unsteadily behind.
This is the part
As
where
they
we
went
step
down the
back.
steep staircase, the smothering heat rose up to engulf them. The air became wetter and heavier until even breathing was a chore. The copper taste of blood felt like it was coating Jason's tongue. The pool was churning loudly, as if something was thrashing just below the surface. The sound echoed throughout the room, especially as they neared the base of the chamber. Near the end of the stairs, they stepped over the corpse of High Priest Darrell, splayed out like a discarded puppet. Jason touched a finger to the body.
So I'll probably end this after this chapter. I'm thinking at like the 2-hour mark is probably is a good time, but it's been cool so far. It's going slow, but it's steady.
As they passed. Would you like to loot Blood Cult Leader? Jason gave his mental assent as they continued down the stairs.
Yes.
Recovery potion, bronze, has been added to your inventory.
Okay.
3 gold spirit coins have been added to your inventory. 11 silver spirit coins have been added to your inventory.
So they had spirit
216 bronze spirit coins have been added to your inventory.
Okay.
341 iron spirit coins have been added to your inventory. 471 lesser spirit coins have been added to your inventory. Like Landemir Vane, the High Priest had been holding more than 1,000 coins on his person.
Crazy.
As to where he had them stowed away, Jason could only guess.
Right.
Does
So
everyone
like,
here
so here's what I'm wondering. Like, can anybody else like loot their bodies the way that he does?
Have an inventory? What? Farah asked loudly. It was hard to hear over the wild splashing of the blood pit as they drew closer. Nothing, Jason called back. Jason's real interest was in the recovery potion, which he took from his inventory and tipped down his throat as soon as they reached the bottom of the chamber. Farah saw Jason tip back the potion and threw out a hand in a warning gesture. Jason, don't! The potion was already making its way down.
Right. Did he say that if you drink too many of those consecutively, you can get poison effects or something like that?
On Jason's throat. What? Rufus asked, as he and Gary turned around to look. Jason just drank a potion, Farah said. Right after using a spirit coin, Gary asked.
Right.
Is that bad? Jason asked.
Wow.
Actually, why didn't the potion do anything? The others only answered in sympathetic wincing. Moments later, his stomach was filled with cramping pains. He doubled, felt his body desperately wanting to vomit, but unable to do so.
Damn.
You have used a recovery potion, while your body is flooded with residual magic. Recovery potion has failed to take effect. You have been afflicted with mana toxin. Mana toxin.
Wow.
Affliction. Poison. Magic. You cannot regain mana. Recovery items will have no effect. You will suffer damage when using mana.
Wow.
Jason groaned. The initial pain passed, but now his stomach felt as awful as his head.
So you can't use mana.
I should have thought to warn you when you didn't know how to use spirit coins, Rufus said. I didn't realize you had any potions. Are you all right? Honestly, Jason croaked, it isn't going to affect me that much. There's only so much worse I can get. Rufus nodded, and they turned to the giant pool of churning red liquid, Jason at the back. The space near the large doors leading out was the widest area around the pool, with most of the room having only a small lip between the edge of the red liquid and the wall. When they first entered the chamber, the pool had been churning in the middle. Now the whole thing was like a pot of water, threatening to boil over, splashing red liquid over the sides. That can't be all blood, right? Jason shouted over the noise. It isn't, Farah called back. Mostly it's an alchemical mixture, although there is a lot of blood in there. At least a dozen people's worth, maybe 20. Are you sure we need to fight this monster? Gary asked. I feel a lot better without this collar on my neck.
They gotta get those. They gotta get those
Rufus
collars
said.
off.
I'm just saying, Gary said. If I'm going to fight something called an apocalypse beast, I'd rather have my powers.
Right.
We do what we can with what we have, Rufus said. Complaining about what we don't have doesn't help. It isn't actually called an apocalypse beast, Farah said. That's more of an informal category. That's what we need, Gary said. Pedantry. Did you say podiatry? Jason yelled. The churn of the blood-like pool was growing louder
Podiatry?
and louder. Is there something wrong with your feet?
Pedantry.
I said pedantry, Gary yelled back. Will you both please shut up? Rufus bellowed. If we let this entity go, Farah yelled, it will get out and start feeding on the local animals. The more it feeds, the stronger it gets. If it eats its way through a village or a town, then it will get too strong for any of the local powers to stop it. Can we even do this with our abilities sealed away? Gary asked.
Right.
A handful of cultists is one thing, but a world-destroying blood monster. We have one sword between us. Going for help might not be the worst idea. Real help is a long way from here, Farah said. The pair looked to Rufus for the deciding vote, who turned his attention to Jason. You're the reason we aren't all monster soup right now? Rufus shouted. The decision is yours. Jason looked at the three of them, looking back at him. They clearly had no idea of the magnitude to which he was out of his depth. What are our actual chances? Jason yelled. Terrible, Gary said. Not good, Rufus said. Getting better, Farah said, pointing. They all looked and saw Cressida's body hadn't fallen into the pool, but onto the stone floor at the edge of the chamber. Unfortunately, it was at the far side. That portion of the floor had barely a lip of stone between the pool and the wall, but Cressida had landed lengthways along it. "She has the key to the collars," Farah said. "If I can get this thing off my neck, I can blast whatever crawls out of this pit back into blood soup." "Not sure I'd want to walk around the edge of that pool," Jason said. "Sometimes all your choices are bad, I guess." "We do it then," Rufus said. "Farah, go for the key, but be careful of the pool. Ideally, you'll have it and be back before this thing emerges, but Gary and I will stall it if we have to. Jason, what kind of combat abilities do you have?" "None," Jason shouted. "I was taken out multiple times by a guy with a shovel. I am very bad at fighting." "That's fine," Rufus shouted back. "Just stay back and try not to die." Farah was already moving, putting the book on the ground and setting off around the pool, not waiting for Rufus to finish talking. She carefully hugged the wall, wary of the churning blood pit. Suddenly the blood, which had been boiling like a stormy sea, went as still and serene as a sheltered pond. The roaring noise they had been shouting over immediately fell silent. "Here we go," Rufus said, his voice an intrusion to the sudden quiet. Ripples disturbed the edge of the pool, and something emerged from the blood, smaller than they had expected. "Is that a leech?" Jason asked. It was the right size and shape for a leech, but had the gaping, tooth-ringed maw of a lamprey. "I do not want that thing crawling up my leg," Gary said. "I think that's a consensus opinion," Jason agreed. A second leech crawled out, then a third. They came 2 at a time, then 5, 10, until they were spraying out like runoff from a storm drain. They piled on top of one another, forming a squirming, writhing mass. "We should probably attack while it's still forming,"
Right.
Rufus said to Gary.
That's
"I don't
smart.
suppose you want to go first?" "How am I supposed to fight a pile of leeches?" Gary asked.
Burn 'em.
"I don't think the sword will work. Also, you have our only sword." Strips of blood-soaked cloth, long and thin, like bandages, started pushing their way out of the leech pile. They wrapped themselves around the leeches, pushing the pile into shape. "Any idea what it's doing?" Rufus asked. "None," Gary said. "Jason?" When Jason didn't answer, they turned to look around and found Jason was no longer there. Gary looked up the stairs and out through the door, seeing no trace of Jason. "He's done a runner." There was no time for distraction, and they turned back to the monster forming in front of them. More bloody strips were emerging from the pile, pushing into what they started to recognize as a humanoid shape. It was only a crude approximation, splitting at the seams as leeches spilled out between the bandages. It shambled forward, barely in half steps, shedding leeches.
There's
as it
no way
struggled
this
to keep
dude just
balance.
dipped out.
"Just stay close enough to keep its attention," Rufus said. "It doesn't seem very fast, and we just have to stall it." "Or I could punch it," Gary said. "It's a person shape now. I know how to punch people." "What? No." Gary's fist slammed into the creature, passing straight between the red-stained bandages and burying itself in the creature's chest. It seemed to have no impact, and Gary staggered back. His arm emerged from the leech monster with a sucking noise, like pulling out a leg that had been stuck in mud. It was covered in leeches, burrowing through his fur to sink teeth into flesh. He staggered about, yelling more in anger than pain as he started ripping them off. Chunks of flesh and fur went with them, clenched in rings of teeth.
Damn.
The bindings around the mass slowly tightened, giving it a more discernibly humanoid shape. It grew faster and more coordinated. Frowning, Rufus tossed aside the sword and picked up the heavy book Farah had left behind. Winding up as he lunged at the creature, he took a huge two-handed swing. The book slammed into the creature's torso, sending it staggering back.
He about
The
to
bindings
fight
loosened,
it with
leeches
the
once
book?
again spilling out of the main mass. The floor was now covered with them, crawling
Bro.
at Gary and Rufus, seeking out their legs. Rufus watched with satisfaction, stepping back from the seeking leeches. And she said the book wouldn't help. Rufus failed to notice the leech crawling over the book until its teeth were buried in his hand.
That's crazy. They literally fighting the fucking leech monster thing with the book that created it or that helped, learn how to create it. That's crazy as hell. And it seemed like it kind of worked too.
Causing him to yelp as the book dropped to the floor. He tore the creature off his hand, a chunk of flesh going with it. He reached down for the book, but there were leeches crawling all over it. "Help!" he heard Farah call out, and he looked around. Gary was still wildly ripping leeches off his now blood-soaked arm. Farah was most of the way around the pool, but bloodied bandages like those wrapping the leech monster had emerged from the pool and were trying to drag her in. Rufus looked around for where he had dropped the sword, then picked it up and hurled it through the air. His confident throw was on the mark, dropping only a few feet from Farah. She hauled back on the bandages, trying to pull her into the pool, leaning hard for the sword. The leech monster, in the meantime, had once again tightened its bindings and started walking towards Rufus. He skidded back, still faster than the creature, but its speed increased with every step. Rufus stumbled, falling onto his back with the creature still coming at him, when a bright light descended from above. Jason, starlight cloak floating around him at maximum illumination.
Wait,
drifted down-
he can't use the cloak because the cloak requires mana, and he can't use mana. So how is he able to use the cloak?
down to land between Rufus and the Sanguine Horror. Tucked under one arm...
Unless he used one of those stones, the awakening shit, or the awakening essence, and got a new ability.
small sack. Reaching into the sack, Jason grabbed a fistful of salt and tossed it at the horror.
Oh.
The creature recoiled.
Salt.
Jason did it again, forcing the creature back again. I'm really glad that worked. What is that? Rufus asked, getting lightly to his feet. Salt, Jason said, throwing out another handful. Did you use mana while suffering from mana toxin? Gary asked, wandering over. His arm was drenched in blood and still looked to be bleeding freely, but the leeches were gone and he didn't seem worried. Seemed time sensitive, Jason said. Ugh, this hurts. I was pretty much bottomed out on mana in the first place. Gary looked over Jason's cloak of stars. You weren't kidding about a power that makes you sparkle. Suddenly, an explosion of light and noise erupted from the other side of the pool. A bright stream of lava cut through the air like it was coming from a fire hose, crashing into the leech monster. Jason's head pivoted, goggle-eyed to the source of the blast. Was that frigging lava? Farah, collar now gone, held her glowing red hand out towards the creature. She mumbled something and a second stream of lava blasted across the chamber.
She got those
The
keys,
blood
bruh.
pit audibly sizzled as the lava seared over it, scouring moisture from the air. After two bursts of white-hot lava, the leech monster was largely destroyed, the bindings holding it
Yep, got me in that again.
together completely unraveled. Chamber. The blood pit audibly sizzled as the lava seared over it, scouring moisture from the air. After two bursts of white-hot lava, the leech monster was largely destroyed, the bindings holding it together completely unraveled. This is the part where we step back, Rufus said, putting a hand on Jason's shoulder. This is the part? Jason could still feel the heat on his face as he staggered back behind Rufus, then back some more for good measure. He heard chanting from Farah across the pool and looked over. There were several orbs of fire floating around her. One of the cloth strips burst from the pool to grab at her, but was intercepted by an orb burning up on contact.
Oh, damn.
She stopped chanting,
That's
and
cool.
Jason heard a rumbling from the direction of what was left of the leech pile. It started to scatter, but a cascade of lava geysered out of the ground underneath it. Gary, Jason, and Rufus backed off even further as lava spattered around the geyser before it dwindled and came to a stop. Jason looked at the glowing hole left behind, his jaw hanging slack. The red light from the blood pool faded and died, plunging the chamber into darkness. Only Jason's cloak and the remnant glow of lava provided any illumination. We need to get every leech out, Farah called out. It can reconstitute itself, even from one.
Wow.
Jason looked around the floor. The main mass of leeches had been incinerated, but many leeches had spilled onto the floor as Rufus and Gary stalled it. Salt bag tucked under his arm, he started flinging handfuls at the leeches, while Rufus and Gary stomped them underfoot. While the leech mass had only recoiled from the salt, individual leeches vomited blood from their tooth-ringed mouths as they dried up and died.
Damn.
Eventually, there was nothing left of the leeches but blood stains and ash.
Well,
You have defeated Sanguine Horror. Quest, the Sanguine Horror. Objective, destroy the Sanguine Horror, 1 of 1. Reward, Sin Essence. Quest complete. 100 Bronze Spirit Coins have been added to your inventory.
There we go.
1,000 Iron Spirit Coins have been added to your inventory.
okay.
Jason edged forwards warily. He noticed a leech that had managed to get far enough away that it was burnt to a crisp, instead of being completely annihilated. He poked it with his toe. Would you like to loot Sanguine Horror? Jason gave his mental assent. Awakening Stone of the Apocalypse has been added to your inventory.
Wait.
10 Bronze Spirit Coins have been added to your inventory.
Awakening Stone of-
100 Iron Coins have been
Oh, the
added to your inventory.
Apocalypse?
Jason looked at the listed Awakening Stone. Apocalypse. That didn't sound wildly positive.
No, bro, you gotta use that shit. Oh, damn. Okay. Okay. So I was on chapter 13. So now I'm on chapter 14, I think.
Chapter 14.
Yeah, so I'm on chapter 14. All right. Well, that was cool. That was cool how they ended up. They ended up killing that thing pretty quickly. I mean, it really wasn't that big of a fight. I thought it was gonna be like some big thing, but no, it wasn't that big of a fight. So, but yeah, but that was cool though. That was cool though. I kind of want to continue reading. I might start back up later today. I mean, it depends. It depends. Maybe tomorrow. I'll start up or something. But that was cool though. But I appreciate y'all joining in though. Don't forget to leave a like in the video, man. Appreciate the like shot give me, and see you in the next video, man. Peace out.